If you're a Miami sports fan, then there's only one store to go to, and that's Caneswear at Miami Fanwear in Davie. They're your one-stop shop for all your inner Miami CF, Canes, Dolphins, Panthers, and Marlins merchandise. They have hats, t-shirts, game day jerseys, and so much more. Located at 2511 South University Drive in Davie, and open 24/7 online at caneswear.com or innermiamiwear.com. Call them at 954-835-5597. Caneswear, the spot where Inner Miami and all Miami sports fans shop.
For over 16 years, EJDconstruction.com has provided South Florida residents quality craftsmanship, accurate project management, and exceptional service. That's why EJDconstruction.com is an A-rated member of Angie's List and the Better Business Bureau. When you're looking for the right custom home builder for additions or home remodeling, please call my friend Eric at 305-433-4843. That's 305-433-4843 for EJDconstruction.com.
There's no need to drive around South Florida wasting valuable time looking for a new or certified pre-owned Acura. Go to the #1 volume sales dealership in the Southeast United States. Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. Purchase with pace and space in a dealership tailored to your needs. From home buying to providing that personal touch. Contact the 2020 Satisfaction Award winner Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. 888-776-5123. That's 888-776-5123. Or visit them at 15601 Pines Boulevard in Pembroke Pines.
We are live. It is Tuesday night, 8 p.m. This is the spot to be. It is the Squared Circle Digest. I am Sean Stanley. He is Mr. AEW, a.k.a. Frankie Fresco. Sir, how we doing today?
Hey, Sean, what's up, man? I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good, man. It is a Tuesday. Getting to talk a little wrestling. I fell behind a little bit on wrestling. Not going to lie. I didn't get to catch all of Raw last night. Life got in the way. So
slacking.
Yeah, I'm slacking big time, man. But overall, man, can't complain. Cannot complain. We got a lot to get into. A lot of WWE, a lot of AEW, some announcements coming out.
Yeah.
The United Champions card kind of taking a little bit of shape. A surprise match announced for me that somebody is heading over to Saudi Arabia for the first time ever. But we'll dive into more of that in a minute. Frankie, heads or tails? We start in AEW or WWE? There was no Backlash, no pay-per-view. We can start either way. Which way you want to go?
Let's start with WWE. Why not?
All right, we're going to start it with WWE. And then we need to change this now. Oop, there we go. SmackDown, baby.
I like it.
Hey, trying. All right, so now this, I was looking at articles, and I don't really usually go to this, but it caught my eye, and I was like, what if this was actual, okay? So, WWE and Endeavor came up to a deal. Vince McMahon made himself back on the board so that he could negotiate the deal. Now, everything that I have points to Vince McMahon getting a 2-year deal added on to being the chairman of the board. So, but in this column, and real quick, hey, Dad, how you doing? King Mahi Carlos, what's up, my man? And EWD Jr. all is well. And don't forget, jump in that chat, hit us up. We make this interactive. This show is for you guys, for us as well. It's a chance for everybody just to sit here and talk wrestling. So on February 7th, Endeavor presented a proposal expressing their interest in the merging of UFC and WWE. At the time, the ownership split was 57% Endeavor, 43% WWE. After that was given to them, WWE received interest from multiple parties, including 3 that were interested in acquiring the entire company with a cash transaction. Guessing those are Saudis, probably. After those meetings on March 22nd, Vince McMahon and Nick Khan met with Ari Emanuel and Mark Shapiro from Endeavor to counter-propose the terms. Their revised offer proposed a split of 51% for Endeavor and 49% for WWE, instead of the original 57-43. After they arranged the deal on March 23rd, Endeavor submitted a revised offer that agreed to the 51-49 split that WWE wanted. But now here's where this story, again, I cannot confirm nor deny it, but I thought, wow, this would be interesting if this was actually put in there. There was a condition stipulated that Vince McMahon must remain as WWE's executive chairman until, get this, his death, resignation, or incapacity. So I ask you, and then also Vince would get 5 of the 11 board seats and certain veto rights. So now I ask you, Frankie Fresco, what do you think? What with Vince McMahon negotiating a deal? Now, I find it hard to believe that a corporate company is going to be like, you can stay on until death, you want to resign, or you're incapacitated, you can't make any more good decisions. Although in his contract, he does have that what's the HR clause that they put in when people always mess up? There's that clause where, because of all the stuff that's happened to him in the past, he's got a code of ethics clause in the Endeavor contract as well. So I ask you, what are your thoughts on this? And again, cannot confirm nor deny that Vince McMahon part is in there. Endeavor did end up acquiring WWE, as we know.
All right. So first and foremost, what's up, guys? I see the chat. King Mahi, Cat for Life, EWBJR, and of course, Stony Stanley, right?
Yeah, my dad. That's my dad.
Your dad. I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised that Vince McMahon would put that on the clause, and I wouldn't be surprised either if Endeavor accepted it. And the reason I say that is because at the end of the day, Endeavor is putting all their eggs in one basket, relying on somebody who knows the wrestling business. They did the same thing with the UFC. That's why they kept Dana White. If they really wanted to get rid of the whole like UFC old type of regime, they would have got rid of Dana White. But they know Dana White knows the business, so that's why they left him there. Now they did the same. I'm pretty sure they did the same thing with Vince, but I obviously you know that Vince is a little bit more controlling. So I wouldn't be surprised that they agreed to those terms. I, as a company, I wouldn't have done that. I would have given him at least the tenure and be like, okay, look, man, after like 4 years or whatever, we'll move on from you. That gives us enough time for us to understand the business and then take over. You'll still have a say, but still, it's not like, hey, you run the show until you die. I think that's kind of exaggerating.
And again, this story came out. The one that I did see is they offered him a 2-year deal through 2025 is the one that I've seen. But when I saw this story, I was like, you know, I haven't seen a lot of this out and a lot of people talking about this. So again, take it for what it is. But I found it interesting that, because honestly, I could believe that Vince in negotiations would be like, I want to stick around until I die. And they're like, okay.
Well,
that much longer.
Did you hear that they're having issues right now with NBC when it comes to renewing the contracts for Monday Night Raw and Fox? Did you hear what's going on with them two right now?
Well, I know there's a lot going on. I mean, which one? What are you referring to? Which story are you referring to?
So what I heard was they were supposed, like, I guess NBC and Fox likes to promote like what they're going to be showcasing each year, and I guess they had to promote what's going on in 2024, and that's when Fox's contract ends with WWE. And what they did is they typically like to showcase WWE because that's one of their biggest shows. Same thing goes with NBC. And what I heard was that they just slightly put a glimpse of what they were, and they moved on. They didn't even focus as much to it, which kind of signifies that they're probably moving on from WWE and they're probably going to
I don't
go
know about that. I
somewhere
just
else.
think that there's a lot going on as far as what Endeavor's going to do. I think there's uncertainty there as far as, because again, when Vince was doing this, it's a one-man show. Vince talks to Fox and they're like, we're going to give you $250 million a year. Okay. NBC Universal, we're going to give you $300 million a year. Okay. The reason they went with Endeavor is because they're looking to go more international. What that means, again, UFC, you've seen their shows, how they put on shows everywhere. I don't know that right now. Again, and we're going to dive into one because I saw your thing here. And I mean, how much do you pay for TV rights? Like, where does, again, how much is too much? They're
Well,
paying 200 and I think 50 million now, or 225, between 225 and 250 million a year right now. So 5 years, that's what, $1 billion?
well, that's the biggest issue with Fox and with NBC, that I think WWE wants more money, and it doesn't come as a surprise because
Well, the problem is that they're the number one show on their respective nights at their times. So that, I mean, other than sporting events, you know what I'm saying? So it's like one of those things, and it doesn't have an off season.
but not only
So,
that, they have to make their money. They just bought the company,
I
so they
know, I
gotta they
know
gotta make
that
a
too, but at the same time,
they gotta make a profit.
if you said you're worth 225 to 250 last rights deal, and your TV has actually gone up here recently, I'm not taking less.
Again, I just feel that they did the same thing when Endeavor bought UFC. Endeavor moved on from Fox when it came to the showcasing UFC. They wanted more money, so they went with whoever was offering them more. I wouldn't be surprised, and this is just me just speculating. I don't have any
Definitely, this is
source or anything,
all of us talking here is speculation. Just
but
so
I will
and
say
reading
this.
stories and things like that.
I have the feeling that WWE is eventually gonna make its way to ESPN. I
No,
think ESPN
no,
is gonna focus on WWE. Now, keep in mind, WWE is showcased on ESPN, but only during like WrestleMania.
yeah,
I've seen that
yeah.
they really
It's
don't showcase it for everything else, but only for WrestleMania. But if they're showcasing and saying stories about WrestleMania, I mean, if you go to their website, you'll see that they have a certain section just for WWE. I wouldn't be surprised that in the long run, ESPN goes and says, "Hey, let's take over WWE as well."
now the only way
Especially
that
since it's
happens. The
Endeavor.
only way that happens if they lose the NFL and they lose college football.
They bought UFC, and who would have
Yes,
ever
but
thought?
UFC events it's on ESPN Plus and
And
ESPN whatever.
what do you think they're gonna do with WWE? They're gonna put
No,
it on
but
ESPN Plus
let
too.
me tell you something. Here's the problem with that. Is again, WWE audience is a conditioned audience. Okay, you can tell that by their live audience. You go to an AEW crowd and it's crazy. It's everything else. WWE crowd completely different. Here's the other thing. They're conditioned. We're conditioned. I'm going to Peacock for $4.99. I'm not paying those astronomical charges to watch a pay-per-view anymore. I'm not. That's the problem I have with AEW.
But are you gonna do that? This is the thing. There's gonna be some fan base that feels the same way like you, and there is some fan base that are gonna go ahead and say, you know what? Hey, man, I don't mind going and jumping and paying for a pay per view event here and there. Endeavor, from the looks of it, looks like they want to make a profit, and they wanna move on. They want to make more money, and the only way you can make
How do
money,
you not make a profit? You're making $100 million a year just from the two Saudi shows.
It's greed, man. Greed. They want more money. It's all about the money, man.
But you also have to understand that you have again, they condition their audience to the WWE Network, right? You paid $9.99, you got pay-per-views. Then it went to Peacock and it got cheaper. I could pay $9.99, no commercials, or I could pay $4.99, I have to watch a commercial, and then I don't get to watch the vignettes. And believe it or not, I was so much happier not watching the vignettes that I've seen 60 million times. I'll watch a Peacock commercial and then come back and watch the thing. I don't know if they're going to read that room right. Because again, UFC's a different animal because
how much is
never
ESPN
lowered
Plus?
their pay-per-view prices.
ESPN Plus, I think it's $10, right?
The only thing they did was they started their fight nights for free on ESPN.
That's what they'll do with the regular live events, and then the main events, like the 4 main events that they have, they'll charge people for it. I think that's the way to go.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. I just don't think it's
I mean, Peacock was even thinking about it too.
It's not a smart business move for them. It's not.
If Endeavor is getting paid by ESPN a larger contract, I think it kind of marginalizes the amount that they probably might lose in the pay-per-view buys with the amount of money that they're getting from the actual contract. So it's not a big difference, in my opinion. I honestly think they might even get even more. And then remember, numbers will trend. Depending on how the card is, depending on the wrestlers, depending on the event, people will buy, man. Look, who would have thought that people still buy UFC fights, and they don't buy all of them, but they buy the main ones here and there.
I don't have to look at the attendance numbers.
I mean, I'll give you
the pay-per-view buys rates, but look, man, there's nothing going on right now. To me, I mean, look, when you have those blockbuster cards and you've got, all these big, championship bouts, then maybe. But there's no way. So unless they cut their pay-per-views and you go to 4 pay-per-views a year, it's not going to happen, man. Because you're not going to be able to pay. You can't expect somebody to pay $49.99 every month. Yeah.
Again, I'm not saying that they're going to be paying $49.
And then you want to also buy pay-per-view for UFC.
Yeah, but the UFC, remember, there's a different crowd between the UFC, the MMA fans, and the
I hear
fans. We already
say that all the
established
time,
that.
and I agree there is a percentage of that, the diehard UFCs, I get that, but there's also a percentage that is also the audience of WWE. Brock Lesnar, Ronda Rousey, there's a reason they come over and make a big splash.
Yeah, that's true. But look what Cat for Life said. Cat for Life said, "Hey, Bad Bunny helped deliver an entire island of pay-per-view."
Yeah,
I'm telling you, it's what sells. You're not telling me that if we go and we watch a Conor McGregor fight in the UFC, even though Conor McGregor is irrelevant, I know he's fighting this year. I think that other fight with that other guy, but you don't think people are gonna buy those pay-per-views? Of course. And then,
people aren't gonna buy, but what I'm saying though is that you're gonna alienate some of your audience. You're gonna lose your portion of your audience.
I think they're fine losing some of their audience when it comes to the pay-per-view events. I still don't think they're gonna lose their audience when it comes to like Raw and SmackDown. They'll still have their regular audience come in. That's why I think
Raw and SmackDown.
Well, I'm not saying that ESPN is gonna have both, but I would say one of them would buy, or maybe they do. I don't know. I mean, they could keep it the same way it is, Monday and Fridays, and they just have it on ESPN Plus, and people watch it on ESPN Plus. ESPN Plus is like $10, if I'm not mistaken. I pay ESPN Plus already.
For free.
Well, yes, I understand that, but people are paying $5 for Peacock. So let's say if you wanted to move USA as a Raw to Peacock Network, people are already paying for it, so they can see it there as well. And some people are willing to just go ahead and say, okay, I'm going to pay $5 and I'll pay $10 a month for me to be able to watch these shows. So
see, what a lot of people are not understanding is, to me, is this. All right, so now YouTube gets Red Zone. All right, now you're saying ESPN is going to get, again, going under this thing. Now ESPN gets wrestling or whatever in UFC, okay? You've got MLS, if you're MLS or whatever, on
Apple TV.
On Apple TV. You've got your Premier Football League. They're on Peacock too, right?
They're on Peacock, yes.
And they're on Peacock. So how much streaming, at what point do you say, oh, I can't get that because I'm watching this?
Well, yeah, you got to pick and choose. I mean, that's what it is. But you know, if they look at what I'm noticing too is that I mean, if they keep losing all these events on regular cable, people are gonna stop paying for cable. I mean, I still have cable. I still pay
I
for
stopped. I
DirecTV.
stopped last month was my last month. I have cable
Eh,
no more.
But I still have DirecTV because I still like a couple of shows and I like to record them and stuff.
I went and I got Hulu TV and I get everything the same. I couldn't even tell the difference between.
But can you record in Hulu TV?
Yes, I got 50 hours right now.
Interesting. I might look into that. But yeah, it's the only reason why I hold on to DirecTV because of the simple fact that I could still record. Like I didn't see SmackDown on Friday and I didn't see Raw on Monday, but since I recorded them, I was able to watch them.
Yeah,
So that's
I
the
got
way.
Raw recorded. I just never got a chance to watch it today because that's why I was watching. But yeah, you can record all that, and then with it you get with Hulu, of course, I got the ESPN Plus because that's part of the bundle. Hulu, Disney, and ESPN. So
I had
that
I
comes as
had
part of the
I
thing.
I used to have the whole bundle, but I got rid of Disney. I think Disney keeps going higher and higher, and
Well,
then
this is included in the Hulu TV price. I mean, I have to watch the commercials or whatever, but it's included. I'm not
well, how much? If you don't mind me asking, how much are you paying for that? For that
$64.99.
64.99? Oh wow, you're paying still. That's
I
well,
dropped my cable bill. Bloop.
well, yeah. The cable bill's like usually what 120, 140, 150 around there sometimes.
It depends when you start adding on sports channels and things like that. You know, I mean, like as you're following things around, then yeah, it gets up there. And then you add the cable in, and then it's good for 2 years. Then when that 2 years ends, then they rake you over the coals.
Well, yeah, that's the reason why I still also have it because I have it connected to my internet as well. So it's all like
Well, that's what I
I got
dropped
that
out when
bundle.
I got. They actually have a thing called the what's it? Not Sling. That's a totally different thing. There's a box they send you that's like a Fire Stick with cable only through Comcast. You get it for free. It's part of the thing. They sent us one, so we have that also. So, but all right, let's get back to wrestling.
Yeah,
Cat for Life says SmackDown's not going anywhere. I do agree with. I just think
I don't
right
agree.
now there's going to be a temporary lapse before they can figure out what they're going to want to do as far as I believe TV rights. Because I think, right, I mean, I think what you has says what you're saying has some merit. As far as I think they may want to look at that, but I think after they do some of the research and they look into it more, I would hope that somebody either at WWE says, "Look, I mean, that might get some more money involved, but what are we going to lose in the long run?" Because remember, WWE is different than UFC with this. They tour 300 days a year. They have events on Thursday. They have events on Saturday. They have events on Sunday. Yes, the TV's Friday and Monday. They have been getting in record crowds in a lot of the venues that they're doing nowadays because right now there's some buzz around what's going on. You take that buzz away, which what happened when Vince was running it, and you were getting maybe 1,500 people at live events. Do you want to go back to there? Because now you're losing kind of what you started building up a little bit, you know? So it's going to be an interesting, I think, time because again, Endeavor, yes, UFC, they've been making, money and this and that, but I don't know that they understand the intricacies that are involved with WWE as far as, fan reaction, crowd, getting them emotionally invested. You can't just expect them to pay, 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 pay.
Well, I mean, actually, to the Cat said that they did the belt for Friday Night SmackDown. They actually
Oh,
did it for Monday Night Raw.
yeah, it's Monday Night Raw. Yeah, yeah.
But again, this is, and he mentions the belt. Obviously, the belt is something that they went ahead and they did it. But remember, their contract is not up until 2024, so they still got like a whole year around before this actually keeps going. So it's not I still, again, it's all about money, man. I think Endeavor wants to make their profit. If they see that they could get more money with ESPN than staying with Fox or staying with NBC, they'll do it, man. And they must know statistically that even though they might lose some fans, they're still going to have enough fans to support it and still make more of a profit than what they're doing right now. So I just feel like at the end of the day, I hope Fox doesn't lose it. I think Fox has done a good job. I don't know what Fox would rely on if they lost SmackDown. Same thing goes with Raw. Like USA, I mean, that's the longest
Here's the other
running
thing
show
that I
on
think
cable.
that might be, And then again, this is going to be coming from, I believe, WWE, Nick Khan, Vince McMahon, and everybody else. If Fox can't get us, they might go get AEW. And if Fox gets AEW and puts money behind AEW, does that help them? Because now you're getting into more TVs, because Fox is almost on more TVs than probably TNT or TBS is. And now do you give up that to your competition? Because again, that's one of the things where, again, UFC's in a thing where they're the top dog. And I get it. WWE is the top dog right now in pro wrestling. But if you put the Fox machine behind AEW, does that start bringing things down?
I don't see AEW going to Fox because of the whole contract negotiations they've been doing recently. So I don't see that. That's why I wouldn't even consider that. But I mean,
No,
maybe in the long run, there is a chance that could happen. But I
I'm
think
telling you
that
now, if Fox offers, they could offer what I heard the number for, again, this is Fox being, like, hey, okay, you guys don't want to be here with us, then we'll get somebody that it'll be the old, it's exactly what Ted Turner did with WCW.
yeah.
He's like, hey, Vince, I want to bring you over here. Vince is like, nah, okay, well then I'll buy the other company and we'll build them up.
But again, there's still a big. I mean, it might close a little bit the gap, but it's still a big difference, man. Look at Bellator and the UFC. There is no like. You thought Bellator would probably make like a push to
I
come and
thought they
compete
would
with
when
them,
they
but
first started, and they were like, well, it wasn't Bellator. Was it Bellator? The one what was on CBS for a while?
they had that old one. They had that Elite XC.
No,
Elite XC.
before that, it was
Because I know ESPN also
before
has
Kimbo went to UFC. What did he fight for?
Elite XC. It
Was
was
it Elite? Okay, and then maybe it was. I just thought
It
it was.
was it was it was it were they were called Elite XC before that they had a different name. I don't it doesn't ring a bell right now what their
Yeah,
name was, but
because
that
I,
was their name when they went on CBS.
yeah, because when they were on CBS, I was like, this thing might. But then the problem is, they had no name recognition. They were trying, but they got the guys after their prime. But
And
to
that could
me,
happen.
AEW, look, I don't think AEW has a terrible roster. And then you start throwing in some of those other guys. I think you could do some work.
I guess
Now,
we'll
whether
only
it's
find out.
what to see. All right, enough about TV talk. Enough TV talk.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll talk more TV. SmackDown this Friday night. This past Friday night. Did you watch it or no?
Of course, yes.
Okay.
I
And
did.
real quick, Cap for Life said the only thing going to Fox will be the only thing to save AEW.
No.
I love it. I love it.
But you know what we were okay, so remember back in the draft when we were having this discussion, you were saying, hey Frankie, what's the situation? Like they're not splitting the tag team belts. And I said to you, hey, KO and Sammy, they're gonna still find a way to put them and include them into SmackDown. What's going on this Friday? Sammy and KO are coming out to SmackDown. See how that's why that whole
No,
draft thing.
it's not about the SmackDown part. It's about they can't figure out how to end the bloodline storyline.
But they're bringing them back. If this whole roster thing, this whole draft was to separate them, then that was done. They could have just moved on. Let Sammy
No,
and
they
KO do
couldn't
their
have,
thing
because
on.
here's the problem. Saudi Arabia says we want this person, this person, this person, this person, this person.
They wanted Sammy and they wanted
Yeah, so now
KO.
you have to run an angle.
But you don't have to run an angle with the bloodline. You could have run a different angle when it came
But
to
who else do they want over there?
look
Have you
look
seen
look
have
who
you
they
seen the card? There's
look
like 12 people going.
look at look who they have look who they had on Monday Night Raw. They had them going up against the Judgment Day again, and then they also now brought in Gunther.
And also, did you see on the Raw who was talking to Judgment Day in the background
Yeah,
when
Paul
Becky
Heyman.
Lynch was walking? Yeah.
But I'm saying they could have done something like that. They could have
Yes,
kind of
Saudi
probably.
Arabia doesn't want this. They wanted Roman Reigns. And WWE didn't want Roman Reigns defending his title because they wanted the main event to be, or they wanted the world heavyweight title to be the main focus of the show. So the way they did it was they said, okay, we'll extend the storyline of the bloodline because we'll make the Usos, obsolete for a minute, and we'll team up Roman and Solo and send them over. And then Roman says, we're going to do it for the greatest tag team of all time. the Wild Samoans, Afa and
Yeah.
Sika.
Yeah,
You know, it's those little things where it's like, I just don't know that they can figure out how to end this whole thing with Sammy and the bloodline because of everything that it's done for them. They can't let it go, man. That's why.
I don't think they want to let it go. That's
Well,
the thing.
no, exactly. That's what I'm saying. They don't want to let it go.
If
But
I
then,
was them, I would have let them go already because they split the roster. This was the whole purpose of splitting the roster. You moved in KO and Sammy to Monday Night Raw. Now they're done. And remember, if you listen to it at the beginning, Sammy was selling it, saying, "Hey, we're done with the bloodline. You know, this is finally over with." And it was what it was. And then on SmackDown, it was this whole issue with it. But then they brought it back. They
yeah,
they brought this controversy back.
because
And
they have to have a card for the. What they should have done was made the draft after, start after Saudi or something.
yeah, they should
Instead
have
of
done
being
that.
like, hey, it starts right after the Backlash pay-per-view. It should have been after, so for the next month, you can do whatever you want to do, and then get away. And then, okay, at the end of that, if that's what they wanted to do in the long term, it looks to me better that they would have been like, after Saudi Arabia, the new rosters kick in. Up until then, I want to say wild, wild west, but, you could have some interesting matchups and just have fun with it and put people on Raw and SmackDown up until then. So then you don't have what's happening right now. Now here's the other dumb part. And kind of, this is all going to go together. Okay. You've got a world's title because you said Roman Reigns owns the titles on SmackDown, but then you have a SmackDown star against a Raw star for the world title. That what if AJ Styles wins it? If AJ
He would have to leave to Raw. But I don't think he is.
Think, right?
I don't think he would.
What happens to the OC?
Exactly. I don't think that would.
Leaving?
That's the problem. That is the issue that WWE is having right now. That I think they're doing their best to create more interest on that other belt, but they're making a huge mistake by including SmackDown on it. They should have never done that in the first place. That's why Roman is over there. Leave him over there and put wrestlers to go up against him for that belt.
And that is why I said they should have split up. I'm not saying that you're not right in the whole thing, like, oh, they're going to move them back and forth. But to me, why? Why have the draft? Why not have the draft like we did and said, okay, the undisputed champions can't be picked because they're on both brands?
I don't even know why they're bringing that belt to SmackDown. Like every time I see Roman come in and he's looking at it, and Paul Heyman, did you see on SmackDown? Paul Heyman was looking at it like saying, whatever. But they're even bringing attention to that belt as well, and that's what frustrates me because I'm like, dude, Roman Reigns is the champion. Like, don't even acknowledge that belt. Just move on. But they're actually even acknowledging it by just looking at the belt, talking about it, doing this, doing that. I'm like, come on, man, like. It just looks like they're reaching a little bit when it comes to who should win that belt. Like, just make that decision.
Also, on the world, you heard. There's been stories leaked out right now because some people higher up in WWE are hesitant to put the title on Seth Rollins.
Yeah.
Yep, because he's out filming movies.
Yep. And then
In fact, he wasn't at Raw last night because he was on the set of Captain America: New World Order, which he's filming right now.
Well, there's the other thing. There comes the name again of Brock Lesnar, man. Brock Lesnar is another person that they love, that knows people will catch an eye, and he's a free agent, man. And then if knowing how WWE works, I wouldn't be surprised if they give him the belt one way or the other. He beats Cody, and then maybe something after that.
That's the other part where I don't think he can't beat Cody. That's the thing. Like,
I have the feeling he's gonna beat Cody, man.
At this point, it's like so then what is the payoff for all the Cody Rhodes stuff?
I mean, Cody's gonna
what, a slap in the face? Ha ha! You got fooled again, dummies.
But the thing about Cody is that Cody's gonna have to work his way for that belt eventually, and it's not gonna happen until the end of the year.
Cody loses to Brock, I'm done with Cody Rhodes. Send him back to AEW. Let him fight for the AEW title. Let him be all elite. Let him be whatever, because they have totally killed that whole thing.
Nah.
I have no more sympathy for Cody Rhodes.
Nah. Nobody expects Cody to lose. Make him lose. And then once you make him lose, eventually he'll have to make his way back up. And you know what's the crazy thing? If he loses to Brock, they'll even extend that damn storyline between him
Yeah,
and
but I'm
Brock
done
again.
with it. I'm done with it, man.
You could be done with it, but WWE's not done with it.
Yeah, because they'll bury it in the ground. He's pretty soon he's going to be John Cena,
Yes, I do feel that
and
probably will
hopefully
happen.
we can't see him.
Well, well, remember, a lot of people don't like John Cena right now. They only like him making like a guest appearance here and
No,
there.
that's all. That's all he needs to do now. That's over. You've got to move on from some
Oh yeah,
certain things. But I
I like.
mean,
I
but,
think
like, to me, the Cody Rhodes thing has been ran into the ground over and over right now. Right now, I'm putting dirt. I'm putting dirt on top of the hole that they put him in.
I think in the long run, I think, and we could talk about it once we got that Night of Champions coming around the corner. But I honestly feel Brock is gonna win that fight. I have the feeling they're gonna stir it up even more, and they're gonna do it that way. And I think they're gonna do Cody like that, and they're gonna keep extending that damn storyline. That storyline just it made no sense to them fighting Backlash and then fight them immediately back at Night of Champions. And I think they're gonna do it again because that's just how they're rolling with.
Like I mean, I agree with Cap for Life. He says it's overkill at this point. It's just look. You did what you did to him at WrestleMania. Boom, he hits that road bump. Now Brock comes out and turns on him. Okay, but again, it's just like enough of the. I've watched him get laid out 2,555 times on TV.
Yeah.
You just after a while, it's almost like
But he hasn't lost. Notice that he hasn't lost. Besides Roman, obviously, but he hasn't lost when it comes after that Roman fight. He's been winning pretty much. Like what he won the Brock Lesnar
he
fight.
beat Brock. That's it. And now he's fighting Brock again.
I don't think he's gonna win back to back. I think he's gonna lose, but whatever. Could be.
We'll have to see. All
Yeah.
right, let's go real quick. The chat here. Um, let's see here. Armando said, "I guess Paul brothers and celebs are the only option." No, I mean they go to the celebs for certain things and for certain, but I don't think it'll be their only option. Cap for Life says, "Do you guys remember we had the conversation about them utilizing Imperium? I wouldn't mind them using them more. I did not like I liked the way they brought them into Raw, and I thought they had a decent match. I just wish there would have been a little bit more context to their match. I thought they had a very good match. It just seemed rushed because they were trying to get. I think they were probably a little hurting for time. It seemed a little rushed at the end to get KO and Sammy over for the win. But I hope ultimately they do utilize them more for the things. He says we need more OC, bro. I wouldn't mind having more good brothers on there.
I'm not a big fan of them.
Yeah, okay, Mr. AW. All right, let's talk Night of Champions card starting to come together. We've got hold on a minute. Let me have it set up right here. So right now there is the Undisputed Tag Team Championship. Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens against Roman and Solo. Sami Zayn, first time going to Saudi Arabia. KO, I think it's his second. I think he did go one time before. And of course, Roman and Solo.
Well, let's talk a little bit about that. What kind of how do you feel about that? Because I was surprised when Sammy and KO agreed to go to Saudi.
I was surprised, but then I thought about it, and I didn't think about it. I was reading up on some articles, and again, I don't know how much, but at least when I was looking at different stories and kind of piecing it together all over, it was before Sami Zayn got into where he's at now.
Uh-huh.
If he would have went to Saudi Arabia, it means nothing. Now with his name as big as it is, now he can go over there, and it means more for the cause that he's doing.
Well, that's true, but they still wanted him back then because remember
they did, but I think he didn't. I think now he sees himself as more of a
headliner.
I don't want to say headliner because I think he's always seen himself as he almost when you get to that level, you see yourself as that all the time. But I think now that he's up in that upper echelon of WWE superstars, he's got more clout.
I mean, I still think that they wanted him because remember It was
No,
a
they
while.
wanted him, but I just don't think he felt if I went over there, I'm going against everything I kind of stand for.
Well,
Whereas now with him being Sami Zayn tag team champion, Sami Zayn out of the bloodline, Sami Zayn, headlining main event at WrestleMania. Now, he's got a bigger presence for his cause.
well, what I heard or what I read up on
Mhm.
him was that he has those charities that he was doing a while back that
Sammy Suspiria.
yeah, so they've been doing really well, and I guess I don't know if it was some type of like war in between the Saudis and another country there, and they're
They
trying
backed
to.
the Saudis backed, I think, somebody that was in the war against, I believe, if I remember right.
It was something like that that I read. I don't know the details exactly, but I do know that they're coming to terms and trying to work it out. So I think that's why Zami said, "Hey, you know what? I think it's time for me to like go over there." And also, it's not a bad time for me to go over there. That's not to say that Sammy might go in the long run and say, "Hey, this is only a one-time thing if things
Oh,
get
definitely.
worse."
Mhm.
So that's why I think he's going again because of
I think
simple fact.
that's what I was trying to get across, and maybe I said it wrong, but I just feel like now his presence over there will be a bigger impact than if he would have went over there before.
But I don't think that was the reason why he didn't go there in the first place. I think he didn't go there in the first place because of the whole situation with the they were saying that it was because of his charity events and all that stuff, and it wasn't they didn't like it and all that stuff. But now that there's terms coming in between these countries and they're working it out, Sammy has gone ahead and said, okay, you know what? Now I can make my way over there because things are getting a little bit better and there's a bright future, so I could go there now. Is his name has his name gotten bigger because over the time? Yes, but I don't think it has to do obviously because he's going and not hasn't gone. I think it's because his character has been developed so well that now he, like you said, he's a bigger wrestler in WWE. But I think they could get away with Zami not being at Night of Champions, but WWE probably spoke to him, said, "Hey, let's. They really want you. Make your way over." And then he was like, "Okay, I'm down. I'm gonna go over there and I'll wrestle." I, I'm I'm intrigued to see if they actually win this fight because I don't know, man. It just seems to me I don't see Roman. Roman hasn't lost in singles match. I don't see him losing in doubles, especially or in tag team, especially with the whole much push that they're doing on Solo. I would be very surprised that Solo and Roman lose that fight. I think they're gonna win over Sami and KO.
It just to me that would be even odder because now you have every one of your titles on a part timer. You know what I'm saying? I mean, like, what does Solo defend the titles every without Roman?
But
I can almost
what are
see.
you gonna say? What are
Well,
you
no,
gonna?
but at this, I think what happens is I think the Usos go to help and it backfires. And I
Mm-hmm.
think it's going to start a Solo and Roman against the Usos
Okay, that makes
type
sense.
of
Yeah.
thing. Because I mean, and again, by all means, I believe you might be onto something, but I would just looking at it from like a wrestling's business standpoint. It's like you already had to make new title because the two titles are on the guy Roman Reigns right now, and nobody can get him off of him. And now you're going to
Yeah.
put the tag team titles on the same guy.
Now that you bring that up, I honestly feel that you're right. I think
And
the
then
Usos
also
are
to
gonna turn
me,
on him.
that would be the end of Sammy KO in the bloodline because now you finally divided it up and they're both on SmackDown feuding each other, and you don't
Yeah,
have to have Sammy and KO
that makes sense.
in the long run. But again, at some point they've got to come up with some kind of rule because so that means no tag team in SmackDown ever gets a title shot because the titles are at Raw. You know what I'm saying? I mean, again, this is where we go back to all that we kind of discussed when we were talking about the draft. It just
But
a lot of it does not make sense.
it does make sense what you said about the Usos
Mm,
getting in the match and
yeah.
then helping. I don't think they're gonna go to help Roman and and Solo. They're gonna go in there to help KO
See,
and Zammy, and then that's how that bloodline you create that next storyline where that's it. We're gonna move forward with the Usos up against Solo and Roman, and then that could be the next main event for whatever the next pay per view or whatever live event they have next afterwards.
yeah, but see, what I think it'll be about, to me, it would be more intriguing is if you can be it like it was an accident and then you can build up. Roman knows it's not an accident, but if you can make it like I'm going to kick Sami Zayn and he moves and, or whatever, he's going to move. And I almost go back to the time when, and I saw it today for a while. It was when Eddie Guerrero and Batista took on Eminem, and Guerrero and Batista and Guerrero were also going to be fighting each other for the title at the next pay-per-view, but they teamed them up on a SmackDown to take on Eminem. And he goes to swing the chair, and Mercury, I think, moves, and Guerrero nails him with the chair. And he looks at the other guy, and Batista's down. He's looking at the guy like, why did you hit? Why did you move? Why did you move? And then at the end, he throws the chair at him. So when Batista finally gets up, he's looking at Mercury like, you hit me with the chair. And then he goes after him. But it was really Guerrero. It's almost like one of those things to where it's like, they meant to hit him, but you've got to make it seem just to carry it out. Because again, I think if you go out and you just super kick them and help KO and Sammy win, you can't keep that cloud going to SmackDown. It's definitely on at that point.
They could go, in my opinion, they could go either way. And the reason I say they could go either way is because look what Roman did to him on Friday when Roman went ahead and now he started pushing Jey Uso and telling him, hey, look, are you making fun of me and all that stuff? So now you could use that turn of saying, okay, this is the straw, man. Like even though it hasn't, this is the first time we actually saw Roman, do something to Jey, because it's always on Jimmy that he's messing with. So when he did that to Jey Uso, I was like,
other way around. He did it on Jimmy this time.
I'm sorry. So the other way around.
Jey was the one trying to smooth it over where Jimmy was.
Correct. So then this is the first time. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they do that. Hey, we'll go help and we accidentally hit you, but they intentionally kind of did it. But again, I also feel that why not just go ahead and do the whole turn immediately and be like, hey, we're going to do it. And then you start that new storyline of, hey, you and Roman, a Solo and Roman versus the Usos. And then the Usos just run with it and see what the fans react to, because the people are gonna back up the Usos all day, in my opinion. If once that feud starts between the four of them, so
yeah, the only thing I'm gonna find interesting in that whole thing is like, how often is Roman gonna be around?
That's true, man.
You know what I'm saying? It's like it's almost gonna be like unless they bring somebody else into the mix, which hey, you never know. Maybe somebody else does.
Yeah.
Ultimately, but it's gonna be interesting. All right, the next match we'll talk about because I want to wait till the end is the World Heavyweight Championship match, AJ Styles versus Seth Rollins. And earlier, somebody asked, who was it that asked us who we thought was going to win? That was earlier on. Cat for Life says, AJ Styles or Rollins? Who you got, boys and girls?
I mean, at one point in time, I was thinking all day Seth, but now that you're saying that controversy that he's doing movies and stuff, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they put it on AJ. I want Seth to win. I think Seth deserves it. I like the fact that on Monday night, they sat him down, they interviewed him, they were showing what he feels is important for being the heavyweight champion and the reason he should win it and his theory behind it. So I like the way they were selling it and saying, hey, look, this is the reason why. That's why I still think, even though there's a little bit of controversy with him, I still think he deserves it, and I think he's still going to win it.
Yeah, I think ultimately here's the deal. I mean, he's going to do a movie that he hasn't even been announced that, so it's probably a small part. You put the title on him now. If he does start going more movies, more roles and things like that, there's a bunch of people on Raw that could take the title off of him.
Correct.
If need be. You know what I'm saying? Now is not the time to be like, let's put on AJ Styles and then make the draft even more of a joke than it's already been.
Exactly.
That's just, me being like, why would you even give it? It's going to be a hell of a match. I think it's a perfect match setup. I think the only other way would have been if somehow you made Finn and Seth be the main event you saw on Raw, as because again, they were
Or you could have had Bobby.
They were the first Universal Championship. That was the tournament. Finn beat Seth, but Finn was injured, so the title got relinquished. So, again, I think you want this title to be more of a wrestling title. So I think you got the perfect guys with Seth and AJ to go in and give you a great technical wrestling match and also show what the title means, as you showed on this interview with Seth, what he thinks a champion is, what it means to him. I'm sure they'll probably do the same thing with AJ on Friday. No, they got a couple weeks, so I don't know when they'll do that. But at some point, they'll probably have one with AJ kind of being like what it means to him.
I think it'll be this Friday when they do that.
Yeah, probably, because the pay-per-view is the 28th. So, Boss B, what's up? Cat for Life does have an interesting point before we move on. If Roman wins a tag team champion, immortality, along with 2 championship belts, that would be a wrap as far as the GOAT.
I don't know about that. I still don't think he would be the GOAT. Because, man, the competition right now is not even that great as like it was back in the day. Like, some of the wrestlers that he's going up against is nice, but I still think, they're not to the same level as some of the previous wrestlers from back in the day that I feel have won that belt before. I mean, Stone Cold, you're telling me that guy's better? I don't think he's better than Stone Cold. I don't think he's better than The Rock. I still think those guys are way above him. To the point that if you go and you put The Rock against Roman, I think that's the first time we actually will see the Roman lose, because they still think The Rock is way bigger than Roman, in my opinion. And then maybe the next day, maybe Roman gets a rematch or something like that. But I still
He's better than Rock's better than for one day. Around like, gotcha.
Yeah. They'll do something like that, because Rock ain't doing full time. But that would be something. But I still think that those guys are way better than Roman.
All right, now the last match. Last match that's right now announced for Night of Champions. The great Brock Lesnar will take on Cody Rhodes in a fight.
No, but there was another one announced. What one was announced?
Mustafa Ali. Mustafa Ali won the Battle Royal. I forgot, and Gunther. All right, go ahead. Mustafa Ali's going to win because go.
Well, Mustafa Ali won that Battle Royale. And I looked at, and the last 3 people who were in that Battle Royale was him, this guy.
Bronson Reed was the last one.
Bronson Reed and Ricochet. Those were the 3 that were duking it out. I personally wanted, and you guys know that I don't like Ricochet. I wanted him to win.
I knew he wasn't going to win.
I wanted him to win, but obviously Mustafa Ali, where is it taking place? In Saudi Arabia. So his background.
I'm surprised Mansoor didn't win it again. He won the Battle Royal in Saudi Arabia. That's when he made his debut, Mansoor. And also, what about Otis eliminated the models?
He did. Did you see that? And did you see that she didn't? The girl, I forgot her name. She wasn't so mad.
She was like, "Good job, good." She was.
Yeah. Yes. So what is going on there? Where like those models are actually not working together with her anymore? I thought those were.
No, they're still working together. It's just she's more focused on Otis.
And then they flipped out when they saw
Dexter staring down.
Dexter Loomis. I mean, I was like, I don't know what if they're going with that angle, but that's I don't like those male models.
They're more of a comedic team. They're getting a lot of reviews on the live shows because of their, the way that they're working, their work rate, and also how they're selling for the other guys. It's just they're just there to really for the live shows, and they'll be on the battle royals and in the background to do the comedic stuff with Otis and the maximum male models. I think as it works out, you'll see.
You know what I did like? I did like Otis and Bronson Reed. I think that those 2 big boys going at it, man, I was actually impressed with that. And I like the fact that they're pushing Bronson Reed. I know he lost, but he was one of the last ones in the fight. The guy's a beast, and he's a workaholic. So I like him. He's gonna be big in WWE. Just give him some time, but he'll make it to being a big.
Neither of us think Ali's winning this match.
Absolutely not. He's not winning. They're just putting him because of the back.
This is the Zelina Vega rub, right? Zelina Vega.
Yes, exactly. Same type of concept.
Hey, stop Ali. Go ahead, buddy.
I mean, he's not gonna. I don't think he's gonna do the same thing as Zelina Vega. That he's gonna be crying out there and say, "Yo, I'm doing this for my people," but he'll get a pop because of his background.
Yeah, he went and did on his IG. He did one of the walks there. I'm not sure what it or where he was at, but he went and did one of the religious walks. Like he was very
Oh, okay.
and welcomed in. I can't remember where
That's good.
exactly it was, but he was over there promoting some of the stuff going on.
I
So
mean, why not do it? I mean, it worked for Selena,
yeah, no,
so
definitely he's gonna get a good little pop and
maybe he
people
could do
be
something.
happy and
Yeah.
maybe you do a couple things where you throw a couple, wrinkles in where a couple of the because remember there was a tryout for Saudi wrestlers for WWE, and some of them I believe have been working out over there with um I'm not doing FSU chant, it's a chop. Kali. Kali's got a wrestling school over there and he
Oh, okay.
trains guys. So I wouldn't be maybe a wrinkle or two with Imperium there, maybe. They slide a couple guys into where you think Ali might win it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you never know. All
And
right,
then,
let's get. Oh,
but hold on, there was also the other one that they're gonna most likely is gonna happen, which is Becky Lynch and against Trish
yeah, well,
Stratus.
there's two more showing here. They think it's going to be Natalia against Rhea Ripley, and Becky Lynch and Trish Stratus.
Yeah, yeah. I like the Becky Lynch Trish Stratus one. The
I don't.
Natalia one,
Why do it in Saudi Arabia, man? Save it. Save it.
yeah,
Save it.
again,
I don't want to see, Trish Stratus all covered up.
but they, I don't think anybody wants to see Trish Stratus
Yeah, so that's
covered
what you're
up.
doing over there. Why?
But I don't. I would use that match and then have somebody else turn on Becky Lynch. Probably like Lita come and turn or something like that. I think that would make
See, that's
sense.
why I think you do that at a local show. Like you're gonna. I mean, look. Here's the one thing that we always know: Saudi Arabia, when they first fly in, they always have the dinner with the head of I don't know. I don't know. Are they sheiks? What are they in Saudi Arabia? The prince or whatever they are. They
Mhm.
always have the dinner, and then you see everybody there. That flown in. Like Undertaker was there last time. He never made an appearance except for behind the scenes. Like they fly people in just to be like there for the prince and the higher up people just to visit and see them.
Would if you had the chance to wrestle, would you go?
That's a lot of money, man. That's a lot of money, bro.
I think the only thing that scares me is like like we saw what happened a couple years ago. So
Well, no, that's what that was kind of
that
where I was
scares
like,
me.
if I'm not a name, I'm a little worried. I'm
Exactly.
not Brock Lesnar. I can't get on the G6 and out of the country. You know what I'm saying? I'm stuck on the tarmac.
And a lot of people won't care about you. A
Yeah,
lot
we
of
don't
people
care
will be
about
like, "Oh snap, Brock Lesnar is on
yeah.
lockdown,"
And we're
but
like, John
Sean Stanley is over there.
We're stuck on the tarmac. Yeah, let them rot. We don't need them.
Exactly. So that's why if I was a wrestler, like you said, I have to be like
I
the
need to have
upper
like a
tier.
ticket on that G6 there. I need to be able to get on the plane, whatever.
My face better show up on the poster. That way they know I have to come back.
Yeah. So, and then those two matches, as we just said, all right, Cody Rhodes, Brock Lesnar. Go.
I honestly feel Cody's gonna lose. Something in me is telling me
I
that
don't think
Cody's gonna
I don't
lose.
think he loses. I think they make it like a false count anywhere, and they do stupid stuff, and he ends up winning somehow. I think if you have him lose, I don't know if I want to go through another buildup.
It's a one-on-one with that guy.
Unless he tears his quad or there's an injury, and I can let him leave for 8 months and then make that big comeback again.
I just don't see Brock Lesnar losing back to back like that. I think honestly they're gonna do it 1-1, and then they'll do the third one on the next one. Even though it might seem like boring and might seem that they're prolonging it, but they did that with Seth Rollins when Cody was going up against him. They didn't. I think they fought like 3 times before that
Yeah, but they didn't
storyline
have
started
anything
landing.
else for him to do, though. That's the difference. It's
Well,
like,
who are you gonna put Cody to go up against after Brock? Who?
but I didn't pay myself in this corner. You're the one that had a bright idea of hey, let's give him another road bump. Let's not make it a little road bump. Let's give him the mountain first.
Yeah, but
It's not my fault you gave him the mountain.
well, WWE gave him that mountain, and what's going on? You can't if you go on from Brock and then you go and you put him up against Seth immediately, like that
He's not
Seth's
going
next
against Seth
opponent.
immediately. He won't go against Seth immediately. Seth will be babyface for a little bit.
Exactly,
And
because Seth
honestly,
can't lose that belt right
maybe
away.
you know what? I'll take that back. maybe Cody loses.
Nah.
Maybe
Yeah,
Cody
I
loses.
think he's
But
gonna lose.
this is the only way he can lose,
Okay.
is
I'm
if he
listening.
continues to lose, and then he gets so frustrated that he turns heel to go after the title against Seth Rollins.
Cody's never gonna turn heel. Cody never.
Only way. It's the
He
only way.
never turned heel in AEW. He had a
You can't
hissy
be a
fit.
baby face and get your ass kicked all the time and lose. You get your ass kicked, but you got to pull out the win.
He's gonna lose
Get your
again.
ass kicked and you lose, yeah, you're no different than
He's
Barry
gonna
Horowitz.
he's gonna lose to Brock again, and well, he's gonna lose to Brock this time, and then I think they'll have a third fight, and then that's when Cody wins. And I think they're just gonna prolong this. That's how I feel about Cody and that Brock fight. Even though I'm telling you, I'm getting tired of it. Like
I'm past tired of it.
I'm
What I'm tired of is not the Brock and Cody. I'm tired of you're trying to build up the sympathy for Cody. I get that, but at some point there's got to be a damn payoff, even a small, minute one. I'm not saying he's got to win the belt, but there's got to be. It just can't always be beat down, beat down, beat down. I mean, if you beat somebody down all the time, what happens? They usually stay beat down.
yeah. Then you get tired of it too.
That's what I'm saying. That's when I say if he does that, then you might as well turn him heel.
I wish they would turn him heel. I wanted him to be a heel in AEW, but he never did. That's why I don't think he will ever be a heel in WWE. Not with this character. So
American Nightmare, baby.
yeah.
American Nightmare. All right, that's pretty much, I think, the WWE stuff, I believe. So we want to dive into our AEW, Mr.
Yes.
AEW.
Yes. Absolutely.
Oh, let's see. Cat for Life. Wait, real quick. Cat for Life says you can't turn heel with that theme song intro. I agree. So what you do is when it goes to go the whoa, 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 you just cut the song off.
Or just change your song.
Don't let the people sing it. As soon as they do it, just boop, like Chris Jericho did that one time. When he first turned heel, he was like, you guys can't sing my song. But no, I agree. They'd have to probably change that that theme song or something there. But yeah, no, I mean, and again, that's just, I mean, to me, if you have them lose for a while and then turn them heel. But again, that's probably what I'm thinking.
One last thing. I know we're gonna jump to AEW, but did you see Ronda Rousey when she kicked Raquel Rodriguez? Oh my god, that looked so bad.
I just saw the GIF of it. I was like,
that looked so bad when she kicked her. I was like, what is going on?
I honestly thought it was a made-up GIF. I had to go look. I like just to make sure that it looked like somebody like photoshopped Ronda Rousey flying into and then she was like flying off.
I mean, after she did the kick, she got up and then she started like talking smack, and Baszler was there and they were hitting her, which it went well, but just the overall kick was bad. Like you looked at it and you're like, man, it didn't look good at all. It looked something really bad.
It looked like it hurt. Ronda probably laid it in there.
Yep. Sad.
Whew.
Sad for Ronda.
One person I wouldn't want to get in the ring for.
Ooh, no, man. I think you would be kind of skeptical going in the ring with her.
What? Hell yes.
You're gonna get hurt. And
hey,
how long? And
hey.
how long is Liv gonna be out for? Do you know? Did you hear?
I don't know. There was a couple injuries in that match, so I got to figure out who the other one was.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was Dakota. I don't know. Dakota looked like she came down, I think, on her leg wrong.
Mm-hmm, yes.
I couldn't tell if she was selling for the match or what, and then they never really went back to her. So I don't know if she got banged up there either. But they said a couple people came out of that match banged up, and of course, Liv was not at Raw, so we'll have to see.
And Dakota did a great job in that fight. I liked her in that wrestling.
Yeah, I thought it was a very good competitive tag team women's match.
Yeah, it was. It was good.
All right, Mr. AEW, you want to start? Let me start first with why I'm an idiot.
Yeah.
Okay,
Go for it.
All right. So this whole time I've been talking about this 4 pillars main event and everything else and this and that, and my dumbass was thinking it was after the All In pay-per-view, which is in August, and it's actually the 28th. I think in 12 days. I believe it's in a couple days, and like 12 days from now, or the 27th, I think it is actually. Saturday night 27th is the actual pay-per-view. So I apologize for being an idiot. For some reason, I was thinking you had the Wembley show, then the following week was the pay-per-view with the 4 pillars main eventing, and I just was like, Oh, it seems like move the 4 pillars to the Wembley show. Well, the 4 pillars match is actually in about 2 Saturdays from now. So I apologize for being a dumbass. That is why I'm an idiot. Mr. AEW, you continue on with the rest of your AEW.
Well, the pay-per-views, the way they're stacked up is obviously May 28th is going to be Double or Nothing.
Yes.
Then it looks like on June
Forbidden Door.
25th it's going to be Forbidden Door 2.
Mhm.
And then obviously on May 27th is going to be the All In Wembley show. So
Yep.
that's how
And
they're going to
then
roll.
the 8th or something, or the 6th or something like that is All Out.
All out. Yes, correct.
Yep.
So let's talk a little bit about AEW. You know, my face brightens up a little bit more when we talk about
Oh, just the
AEW.
halo on your head. I can see it.
MJF made his appearance at an indie show. So
Yes.
MJF came out to create a pro indie card. And I didn't know what this indie card was. I had no idea why he even showed up. But this is where he started.
Yes.
He actually came up from that indie show and he actually gave fans a thank you and told them how grateful he is and how important it was. He fought against who was it? Leo.
Oh, man.
What was his name? Man, I forgot his name.
There's Leo.
Man, I forgot. I forgot who he. Leo Sparrow.
There
Leo
it is.
Sparrow
Leo
was his
Sparrow.
name.
I was trying to think of a bird.
Leo Sparrow was his name, and it was actually a good fight. And me and Sean were talking about it right before we got online on live. You saw him, JF. He wasn't like he looked pale as hell. He looked his normal self. He came out there, but it was actually very entertaining because I saw the match. I
Yeah.
actually saw the match and I was like, "Oh, this is a pretty good match for an indie show." And what a treat for the fans for them to see MJF live at an indie show. Come on, man. Do you ever think seeing Roman Reigns at an indie show? No.
No,
So
you'll never see it. I mean, again, this is the one thing though that I thought was tremendous by MJF, Tony Khan, Pat Buck, and Brian Myers, who run Create a Pro. For those that don't know, Brian Myers, he was um, Hawkins for with Zack Ryder and what's the Hawkins? What's his last name? What's his first name? He teamed up with. He's the one of the edge heads, and then also he was with Ryder and Hawkins. And then Pat Buck has been around forever at various backstage. I believe he's AEW backstage as well. I believe. And what they did was they brought him in for a signing, and then throughout the night, I guess it was figured out that hey, now's a chance to go out. And Sparrow was cutting a promo, and he's a vegan.
Yep.
And he used the line of which, of course, is MJS. I'm better than you, and you know it. And as soon as he drops the mic, MJF's music hits, and he comes out and he's dressed to wrestle.
Yeah.
And it was like, okay, here we go. And again, I thought it was a tremendous spot for Leo. He got a little bit in there, but they also did not much to where no injuries are going to happen to MJF or anything like that. There was nothing crazy. There was a couple things outside the ring and a couple kicks and this and that. But everything that, again, he went home. It was called Create a Pro Homecoming was what the show was called.
That was cool.
And it was MJF coming home and being thankful to the crowd at the same time because Leo Sparrow beat a guy that looked like Jungle Boy.
He did.
And he said, look, you might have beat your version of the Jungle Boy, but I'm going to beat mine on May 27th in Las Vegas, Nevada at Double or Nothing. So he was there promoting and everything else.
I like how he
It was a
tied it.
great time,
I
man.
like how he tied it because he also mentioned that he was gonna go and that the reason he was wrestling was because people are saying that he doesn't like to wrestle.
Yeah.
And so that's something that came out of AEW as well. That
He's like, I don't like wrestling for AEW fans in front of in small Podunk County. I'll wrestle here in Long Island, New York.
So that's creative. That goes to show you that AEW overall allowed him to go over there, and then he said, "Hey, man, not only am I going to go out there, I'm going to go and put it all together. That way, it looks good. That way, AEW is getting more of an attention because people who are in the indie show. I mean, they might not be hardcore AEW fans, but at least now they're going to be like, oh man, we appreciate MJF coming out here. Like if I was at that indie show, I'd be like, man, I'm gonna tune in more often because this guy's showing us love.
Not only that, and then also he went into about if you want to be me, go to Create a Pro. There was a lot of message inside that 10-minute package of the time that the match ended to the time everything went. I just thought it was cool that again, you might see some WWE guys at shows doing signings, but usually you won't see them involved. They might go in the ring and be like, "Thank you guys, appreciate you, thank you for everything you've done for my career." But most of the time, they're not. Maybe a couple of the NXT guys now, but most of the main roster guys, unless Vince owes somebody or WWE owes somebody, which has happened before. Because what used to happen is, say, Frankie Fresco is my world champion. Frankie Fresco gets signed by WWE.
It'll never happen, but okay.
And then Frankie Fresco, they want to move him up quickly. They want to bring him in so he can be right on the show. So what they'll do is they'll be like, "Look, we're going to take him from your show, but we'll send you, for Frankie Fresco, you better send me like Roman Reigns or somebody, but they'll send you a replacement because they took the guy they signed the guy that from you. That used to happen. I don't necessarily know it happens anymore, but they would replace him. Maybe not the same, same star level, but they would give you, 1-for-1 in a way, so, but nowadays, like, it doesn't happen that much because you just can't take the risk, man. You put a lot of money in these guys, and if they get hurt, and look, man, indie rings are not the greatest, man. You got some that are great, but most of them are
not at all. Not at all.
Ankles and everything else, man. But
yep.
But that was cool. That was cool. And again, I believe it was because it was Pat Buck. I believe it was because it was Create a Pro, which helped MJF become who he is, that they've allowed that. But also, you've seen it in AEW. You've seen a lot of their guys on other independent shows. They are more inept to allow that because there hasn't been an injury yet. Let somebody get injured or something, then they might also draw back a little bit. But that also helps AEW because that puts their name out there a little bit more each time.
Of course. Yeah, man. Absolutely. So so that was what happened with MJF this past weekend. Let's talk a little bit about this Dynamite. What did you personally, this Dynamite, I know, like, who was it? I think it was Tool Time who had told me last week or earlier this week. He was telling me, "Frankie, I couldn't watch Dynamite. I can't watch it for all of Dynamite. It's just too, like, I can't. There's too many things going on." I'm gonna tell you what. This was the first Dynamite that I honestly felt they did a very, very good job with a lot of different things. And besides the main event, I wanted to bring up a couple of things. So obviously the announcement that's coming up this Wednesday. So we know that tomorrow Tony Khan is going to make this huge announcement, which in the long run, I think what's going to happen is obviously the new show that's coming on. Obviously, with CM Punk being the main person being sold on that show.
Plus, I think there's more to it than that.
Plus the possibility of maybe AEW going into the streaming world and going into that Max. What do you call it? That I think it's called Max, not HBO Max, but just regular Max now. And they might now develop into putting them in that particular streaming network. And you probably will have to now, maybe not right now, but in the future, you might have to have Max in order to watch AEW events, which are still going to be cheaper than actually the pay-per-view events that they have. So that could tie in together. But either way, besides
I want to discuss a little bit more of that. Go ahead and do what you're talking about with Dynamite now. We'll get into that after because I've got some numbers supposedly that we can run.
So a couple of things. So number one, I like the way they were talking to each one of them. So you saw how they were building up the four pillars. They were giving MJF his time. They gave Sammy his time, Darby Allin, and they also gave Jungle Boy. So they gave every single one of them their little snippet, their little segment, showing them, hey, a little bit about themselves, a little bit of what they're bringing to the table, and why they eventually want to become champion. You don't see that happen a lot in AEW. They don't do that as often. So I like that about them. Number two was the surprises. They finally made good decisions in how to kind of promote these people coming back. When I mean surprises, Miro coming back, Thunder Rosa making an appearance, they actually did something that they kind of copied from WWE, which is they didn't go ahead and make them run into the ring. They didn't make them go and hit somebody backstage. They didn't do any of that. All they did was, hey, look, here's Tony Khan's office. Miro's gonna go talk to him. All of a sudden, boom, Thunder Rosa comes out of the blue and says, hey, Tony Khan is on, Miro's in there. Maybe I should go have a talk with Tony Khan as well. So I felt like they finally did a very, very good job in introducing previous wrestlers who've been out in this episode. Because we always criticize the way that they like to bring these people back. It's always like, hey, they're fighting or they're attacking somebody backstage or something like that in order for them to come back. I think just bringing them in slowly like that gave a big pop. What do you think? What, did you feel the same way, or did you feel, whatever? It is what it is.
No, I thought it was good. I thought it was good what they did with Miro. I thought it was good what they did with Thunder Rosa, because it also was like, And then you thought about, okay, the new program coming out, they'll probably get added there. I did like, but also here goes the other thing where I always have my issue with AEW. They had Kyle Fletcher.
Yes.
Aussie Open kind of lay out Orange Cassidy.
Yes.
And then hold up the international title. But if you don't know who Aussie Open is, or you don't follow them, you're just like some guys holding up the belt over Orange Cassidy. I get it. They said that's Kyle Fletcher from Aussie Open. But again, as a casual wrestling fan, and I get it, Aussie Open has been on a couple of their shows, so maybe if you've watched it before, you might know who they are. But to me, Aussie Open is not as, a casual wrestling fan is not going to know who they are.
But did you see
I did like the fact that it wasn't like a beat down everything. It just went back to him, and he's standing over him holding the belt. So I did like that. But I think the problem I had with it was, if you don't know who he is, it just looks kind of like, who's this guy standing over him?
Okay, but two things. One, you did mention he has been on AEW, and a lot of people who are like, obviously the hardcore fans are going to know who he is. Mm-hmm. But number two, what I felt that they did it right was that they had him fight on Rampage. So they not only did they go ahead and showed, hey, look at this guy. All of a sudden on Rampage, you showcased him. He fought against
how many people saw Rampage?
I understand. And
Rampage happened after he beat him down, though.
Yes,
like I would have rather been, I would have had them wrestle. Look, here's another thing I got. And again, I loved the match. I thought the match was probably one of the better matches on the show. But it made no sense to me to have a double Jeopardy Ring of Honor match start AEW Dynamite.
Why not?
Why? Huh?
Why not?
Is it Ring of Honor Dynamite?
It's not Ring of Honor Dynamite, but it was still Claudio. Claudio did a great fight with this guy. What was his name?
It was a great match. It was a great match, but my problem is this: you don't have enough TV time for everybody now. You have a Ring of Honor streaming on your Ring of Honor app. Why not move another match up and then had Aussie Open wrestle and then had him beat him up? Instead, you gave that time to Ring of Honor. It's AEW Dynamite. And the match was great. I'm not taking away from the match. I don't have that issue. The issue I have is you're trying to get, this is where you only have so much TV time. And now you don't have your dark or dark elevation. So now you have even less time right now until, whatever happens with the new programming. And you have an app to where you can put a 2-hour show of Ring of Honor if you wanted. But yet you have that match start, and the stipulate is like, not only is it a Ring of Honor match, but it's a stipulation where if Claudio wins, he gets the tag team title match. If Ray wins, he gets a shot at the Ring of Honor heavyweight title match.
Yeah.
To start. And that's just like, those are the instances where I'm not saying put Aussie Open in the open match. No, maybe you could have slid something else up there and then introduced Aussie Open during the card. And then at the end, have him, where they did it. There's other ways of doing it, because now, yes, they've introduced him on Rampage, which was after he did the damage to Orange Cassidy, and Rampage was on at 10 o'clock Saturday night.
Yeah, but again, if you watch Rampage, you would know who he is. You would see it. Now, is
Okay,
everybody
so
tuning in?
430,000 people saw who.
That's fine. People will know him. If you're going in there and if you watched him, obviously Forbidden Door the first time he actually was there in that pay-per-view as well. Now this time around, he attacks Orange Cassidy. He also is showcased on Rampage. I think they did something that they would have before they would have just had him attack Orange Cassidy and then we'll never hear again from him again. They wouldn't even show him wrestling. So at least they did something better than what they did before. Because before they wouldn't even do that. Before they would be like, yo, have a nice day, goodbye. And then he'll just keep attacking Orange Cassidy. And then on a random dynamite, hey, Orange Cassidy versus Aussie Open. That's it. That's what they would do. But they didn't do that. They actually gave him a fight. So they actually allowed the fans to see him. Although Rampage doesn't have the numbers, you're right. But still, they at least try to showcase him. That way people know who this guy is and show the fans, hey, this is what's going on. That's why I think they did
Why not do that on your marquee show?
because he's not well known on his marquee show. So maybe a lot of people will tune out if they focused on putting him right away. That's why you could only give him like a little snippet of who he is. Because if you go ahead and you put him in a fight on Dynamite, whether it's just a fill-in fight or whatnot, some people are gonna tune out and be like, I don't know who this guy is. Screw it. I'm changing the channel. What
So then why have him fight for a title? If you're going to tune out on the guy, I mean, dude, that's ridiculous.
Well, the only reason I said they're going to tune out on the guy is because people don't know who he is. So you kind of have to show him
against
up.
the Young Bucks.
I mean, again, I don't see it the same way as you see it. I see that they did something different. They showcased him on
I'm
Rampage.
not saying they didn't do something different. I mean, at least they did. At least, like you're saying, at least they showcased him there. But to me, you showed him beating up the guy before you showcased him.
Well, they didn't even show him beating up the guy. They, like you said, they just showed him.
He's laid out and holding the belt. I mean,
exactly.
Pro wrestling. I'm sorry. Maybe Brian Cage attacked him, and he just happened to be walking by.
No,
in the backpack, grabbed the belt, and then the camera turned on as he was holding it up out of the backpack. Maybe that's what happened.
Well, look, obviously we know that he was the one that attacked him, but they didn't go they didn't go that extreme where he went ahead and you saw him like hit him and all that stuff. They just, they sold it a little bit. They said, hey, look at this guy.
That's what I said. I like that. I like the fact the way they did it. They didn't have him back there throwing the guy through 600 TVs and bouncing him off every case in the back. No, it was just him standing over the guy. The only thing I would have wished that they would have done is even if it was just, something else, somehow knowing who he was beforehand, because they made it like, oh my God, that's Kyle Fletcher from Aussie Open. Like everybody just knows who Kyle Fletcher from Aussie Open is. If you're not a diehard fan, you don't know. And if you didn't tune into Rampage, you find out after the fact, like, oh, okay, the guy can go. But before that, I would like to know before that. So then
But then it avoids the surprise that he's coming in to attack Orange Cassidy.
What do you mean? He's in a tag team match with Aussie Open, but you highlight him getting some of his moves in, him getting the pin. So you highlight Kyle Fletcher a little bit. And then like they did there, you go back and Kyle Fletcher's holding the belt looking down at Orange Cassidy.
I think they wanted that pop of like, hey, look who's back. Look who's back for a split second. And then that's why they did it that way.
I don't think they got the pop that they wanted. I mean, it didn't sound like everybody was like, hey, oh my God, it's Kyle Fletcher. Oh my God, it's Sting. It's not like.
Well, a lot of people don't know him, but like you said, the hardcore fans do know who he is, and obviously,
I go back with AEW, and again, I take nothing away from any of the talent in the ring. I just wish sometimes they would be more like, okay, yes, I know who they are. Yes, you know who they are, but you know what? Even if it's 8, there's 12 people out there that don't know who he is. Okay, well, let's play the vignette for the 12 people.
Yeah.
I just don't understand how. I mean, look, I wrote down, okay, so I write down the match. I look at the matches and I kind of grade them out. I did 2 hours of SmackDowns. You know how many segments there were on SmackDown?
How many?
In 2 hours, 8.
Okay.
That included interviews backstage. I don't really count the vignettes. unless they're an interview. If it's that they're playing like a hype up video, I don't count that.
Okay.
Do you know how much is in a 2-hour Dynamite?
Probably half of that.
16.
Oh wow, it was way more. Well, remember they're trying to cram everything in.
Well, but again, that's where I'm like, so you had 16 segments, but you couldn't find one to cram in a little bit more about this guy before you see him. Even if it's, oh my goodness, Aussie Open's in the building. What are they doing here?
Yeah, but again,
For a tag team match, then now you have him be like, oh wait, he took out Orange Cassidy.
Yeah, I mean, I get you. I just feel like because he's been on AEW before, because he's been in Forbidden Door before, because he's
Do you know when Forbidden Door was?
It was last year.
Yeah, it was last year. It's the same month as this year. He's going to be in what, June, July?
So maybe, and remember, he is not an AEW wrestler. So maybe they don't want to sell him as much because they know that they're not going to have him for a long term. They're only going to have him for
your title.
Huh?
On your show. You're putting him up for your title on your show. Make him.
But you know that Orange Cassidy is not losing that title.
For 2 weeks that he's going to be on my programming, I'm going to make him like $1 million. Why? Because more people will tune in.
Yeah, but there's no guarantee that he's going to stick around in AEW. So
doesn't matter. Once Orange Cassidy beats him, it doesn't matter. I built him up. Orange Cassidy knocked him down. We roll on. See you later, Aussie Open.
And then as far as the first match, I thought it was fine. AEW is always going to put Ring of Honor in their Dynamite card. That's what they always do. They don't separate each brand. They've never done that before, so it doesn't surprise me. Maybe they'll start doing it now.
I remember Tony Khan stood up on the stage after one of the things and said, after this pay-per-view, Ring of Honor will be Ring of Honor and AEW will be AEW, unless I need an opening match, and then ROH will be ALW.
I agree. He did say that.
How Tony Khan sounds.
But it was that was not a very good Tony Khan. But
I don't want to talk like Tony Khan.
Either way, the match lived up to it, and the stipulations that were in it was really good. I thought that was something different. I thought that was something smart, and it gave interest to that match. Now the fact that it's for Ring of Honor and not AEW,
why not do it for your AEW?
Oh well, I don't know why they didn't do it for the AEW. I guess they wanted to do it for the ROH because they need some more eyeballs to go to see ROH because probably the viewership in ROH sucks. That's probably why. That's the only reason why I could think they could keep pushing ROH certain stuff because they're not getting the views that they want to see in ROH. And again, AEW has not separated the both of them. They're always going to mix and match. So it's just.
Yeah, but I don't mind Claudio being part of the Blackpool Combat Club, but when he attacks people, they don't go, "There's the Ring of Honor champion, Claudio." No, they say Claudio's out, Blackpool Combat Club. I get that, but you don't have to be like, our Ring of Honor heavyweight champion Claudio Castagnoli is out with Blackpool Combat Club, and they're attacking the AEW All Elite. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I just look. Claudio can still fight for AEW. It's just he's Claudio there, or Claudio Castagnoli or whatever. And just like Samoa Joe can come over and fight for AEW, but he's Samoa Joe. Don't bring over the ROH TV title. There's no need for it.
But Samoa Joe has defended that title in Dynamite.
He did up until when Tony Khan made that remark. It's been a while since Ring of Honor has been on there.
No. They always have a Ring of Honor fight in there.
Not every night. No.
And if it's not on Dynamite, then it's on Rampage. They do it on one or the other.
Rampage means nothing to me. I'm sorry to tell you. A show that I can find out the results to tomorrow that don't come out till Friday. I look.
You probably don't even watch the show.
I don't. I can tell you right now, I'm the zero in the zero. All right.
Do you even watch it when it's live or no?
When is the last time Rampage was live? When they were in LA?
Yeah, I think that was the last time they were live.
Leading into a pay-per-view. That was it. I watched that one.
Well, what about Don Callis, man? Talk to me about Don Callis.
Hold on. You didn't talk about the other good part that happened on there, by the way.
What other good part?
The FTR. Mark Briscoe. I like that segment, bro. I like that segment.
Oh, when they spit on his face. Jeff Jarrett
spit on his face and blinded him, and then he pile drive Mark Briscoe. I thought it set up well to be like,
yeah, it was.
That was an intrigue going in there.
That was.
So now I think what's going to happen coming up, maybe not this week, maybe next week, leading into the pay-per-view. At some point, Jeff Jarrett's going to swing the guitar, miss and hit Mark Briscoe. So now they're both going to have Mark Briscoe won't be on the side of whatever. I think so.
That
All
was
right,
good.
that's all I got to say about that. I thought that was a good segment as well. On to your Don Callis.
So the cage match, which lived up to expectation, right? Obviously, you had Kenny Omega, you had Moxley, you had the barbed wire on the chair, you had the blood on the back of Moxley, and
Had the sharded glass.
they had the sharded glass. I thought that was gonna be thumbtacks or
Yeah,
thumbtack, right? But
you
it
had the
wasn't.
cage that didn't break quite right. That looked like Omega might have killed himself.
That was scary. That
Yeah.
was a little bit rough. And then you also had they used the turnbuckle. You saw how he took off the
Beautiful,
turnbuckle on the
beautiful.
that was creative. I was
Yeah,
like, oh
very
man,
good.
not bad. That they went a little bit more than a typical cage match. Because everybody always says, hey, when is a cage match gonna be a cage match where they don't go through the cage? You feel me? Like 9 out of 10 times now, you're half of the time when you're going through a cage match, they always go through the cage, and they're like, because you get that pop of like, holy crap,
Yeah,
like
cage breaks.
exactly. But they did a good job when it came to like using other stuff besides just that moment.
It was
And
very violent cage match. It was very violent.
very exactly. And what does AEW like to sell? Violence, of course. And then on top of that, then you have Don Callis, which we all kind of had it coming that he was gonna turn on Kenny Omega. He took the screwdriver, and then when Kenny Omega was about to pin him, boom, there you go. He turns on him, and then John Moxley gets the win. I thought they did a phenomenal job with that main event. I think they sold it. I think they did the right thing. We were criticizing the fact that AEW is like, yo, they always are selling these fights that are like pay-per-view fights, and they shouldn't be on Dynamite. They should be on pay-per-view. But I think for the fact that WWE had so much going on for them, the hype was on it. AEW needed something to gain the fans back and be like, yo, man, like we could hang with these people. And I thought the way they did that show and they ended that show, they gained that. They got my attention again. Cause I was like dozing off and like, whatever with AEW. But when they did that move and they did that particular match, they gained my attention. And now I am interested to see what Don Callis is gonna do. Is he gonna go ahead and join um Moxley and Brian Danielson? Is he gonna go with all these guys? What is his next step is what I'm curious about. And I'm also want to see what is Kenny Omega's reaction. What is Kenny Omega gonna do in this? Because Don Callis has been with him the whole time. So it's we knew it was coming, but it finally happened. So now what? You understand me? And it keeps us guessing, especially with Double or Nothing right around the corner.
I agree and I disagree.
All right. What? Why?
I agree.
Why?
I thought the match was great. I thought the match was what it needed to be. I did not understand why they needed to sprinkle the extra on the cage match per se with the Don Callis turn. And I say this because we are 2 weeks from a pay-per-view, which could have had more eyes on it and could have made the turn mean even more to me. That is the only question I would have is like, what was the thinking? Like, why now? That was my only thing. The match lived up to everything. I think the match itself would have brought eyes back to AEW just from the pure violence. I just did not understand why at that point, at that moment, in that main event, you felt Don Callis had to make the turn there leading into the pay-per-view instead of doing it maybe at the pay-per-view.
I think the reason they didn't do it. I think the reason they didn't do it in that pay-per-view is because if they did that at the pay-per-view, it would take away from the Four Pillars match, which is going to be the main event of that pay-per-view. I think that's the reason why.
It's not a main event then.
Which one?
For the Four Pillars. I mean, if the fact that Don Callis turning on Kenny Omega overshadows the heavyweight title match, that should tell you enough about your pay-per-view right there.
Oh man, we could say the same thing about the LWO Bad Bunny and the Brock Lesnar Cody. Same thing, same concept.
What did I tell you though? What did I tell you? Who should have went last? Who did I tell you should have went last in Puerto
Rico? That Bad Bunny fight.
Yes, because that made no sense to throw Cody in
well, then
the SmackDown and everything leading up is the same thing.
So that's why they did it before that. That's why I didn't do it in that pay-per-view.
Yeah, but
It would have taken away that
we're
pay-per-view.
talking apples and oranges, though. AEW is not in. It's not in
What are you talking about?
Puerto Rico with Bad Bunny. Your
It's
Double or Nothing is in Las Vegas. Who's the hometown for Las Vegas? Whose hometown is it? Who's stealing the show?
MJF.
So I don't. I mean, you're talking about Bad Bunny had a whole island. I mean, if you watch SmackDown and you should have known at that point. And I get you're like, oh, they ended that way. They can't end the pay-per-view the same way. Yes, you can. When the people are asking for it, it should have ended that way.
They cannot put that Don Callis turn at the pay-per-view because it would take away from the Pillars match. And yes, we all know that
But
Pillars match.
What you say?
We all know
next?
that. We
What
all
goes
know.
next? Now you have to. So if you have, say, Kenny Omega against Moxley at the pay-per-view or whatever you're going to do, there's got to be a winner.
Yeah. Well, there was a winner when Moxley beat him.
You can't have the turn, though. What I'm saying was, if you would have saved it, you could have had a turn to keep it going. Now somebody's got to win or lose in this thing.
But the problem is, like I told you, it's going to take away from that Pillars match. And we already know that Pillars match is not the greatest main event for a pay-per-view.
What are you going to do? Lower your card on the pay-per-view to match?
Not lower your card, but you don't want to take that steam out of that Pillars match either, because if you do it, then you're pretty much taking your eyeballs away from that Pillars match. And we already, you and me have already established that Pillars match.
But what's your card for the pay-per-view? What's your card for the pay-per-view?
They haven't even announced
at some point, it's got to be a triple threat, at least. At least. And that's if Adam Page don't come back and make it a 4-on-4. You're going to have the Elite against the Blackpool Combat Club. What are you going to put that match first?
No, you wouldn't. But you could put that as a co-main event one.
You don't think that's going to overshadow the Four Pillars match?
If you had a turn, yes. If you didn't have a turn, no. It stands there. It could still, that Pillars match is still sound some type of interest. I get you, man. I get that Pillars match is not the most attractive fight. I know that there's.
My thing is, if you're telling me I can't do this because if you're a booker and you're worried that I can't overshadow my main event and I can't do this and I can't book this way because it'll overshadow something. I don't know, man.
Well, I'm using that as one example. I think the other reason they actually also did the turn and everything is because they wanted to gain interest from the fans. Their whole thing is this Saturday announcing that new show. So by selling the cage match, by having people tweet about it and say, oh my God, Don Callis actually went ahead and turned on Kenny Omega. Now you have more people be like, oh, let me take a look at it. What's going on? And then at the same time, where you're actually tuning in, you're like, holy snap, Tony Khan is making an announcement about some type of thing again. What is he going to talk about? And obviously, it's the new show, possibly the return of CM Punk. That's the reason why you needed viewership. Now, I don't know what the numbers were for Dynamite. I hope they cracked 1 million. I doubt it. I figured it didn't crack 1 million.
It actually dropped.
How much was their viewership?
I think it was 877.
All right, well, they almost hit 900,000. So that's not that bad, but in all general, like, I think that's the reason why, because they needed attention. Nobody was talking about AEW. Everything was about WWE, Backlash, Bad Bunny, Night of Champions, that new World Championship belt, the draft. Everything is all WWE. This finally starts bringing in some people to actually tune in and be like, okay, so what happened here? Oh, there was a steel cage match. All right, cool. Oh, snap. Don Callis turned on Kenny Omega. Crap. Now what? Like now what's going to happen with Don Callis? That's what's going to happen with Kenny Omega. What fight are they going to be able to do for a Double or Nothing? You don't know. All these things are now you're developing something where you could actually go and say, hey, man, it's bringing more intrigue, more interest. That's the only reason why. I think if they just would have done a regular cage match and it would have been the way it is, it wouldn't have garnered as much attention as Don Callis turning on Kenny Omega. And I think that's the reason why they also did that turn at Dynamite instead of doing it at Double or Nothing. But it is what it is, you know? And then again, I think AEW hit the mark.
877. I'm not sure what I told you. 877.
Yeah, you said 877.
Yeah, but it went up to 937 during the main event.
Ah, you see? you see that they almost cracked 1 million, and that's um without MJF showing an appearance, because I don't think he showed up at there at all. All he did was that promo of him, and that's it. And then they also didn't have Brian Danielson fight. He wasn't fighting in that one, so I mean they did a pretty good job.
They actually dropped during the MJF promo.
Crazy. And then the other fight that one of the top fights that I was very very proud of was Anna Jay fighting
Yeah,
against
beat the crap out of each other. It was very good.
oh my god, that was a great fight. That was really good. And not only that, they're two hotties, so I can't complain about that either. They're two good looking women. But it was a very, very good fight. The way they did that fight was impressive. I enjoyed that fight compared to other fights that they sometimes bring on AEW for the women. So that was impressive. I liked it. I thought it was good, and I thought they hit the mark with this show, man. I think they did a really, really good job overall. I think I actually, you might be mad at me, but I enjoyed this show more than that Monday Night Raw show. To be honest with you,
I didn't watch Raw, so I can't say that, but I enjoyed the AEW show. Again, here's my problem with everybody is like, oh, if you like AEW, you're AEW. If you like AEW, you can't like WWE. I think that's just BS, man. You can like both shows. Are there certain things on the show I didn't like? Of course. There's stuff on Raw I don't like. There's stuff on SmackDown I don't like. There's stuff on Rampage, Dynamite, everything else. There's going to be parts of it that you're like, I don't know why they did that or whatever. But overall, the show was damn good. It was entertaining.
it was.
And there was, there were some parts where I was like, yeah, okay, whatever. But I also enjoyed the new House of Black, the House Rules match.
You saw that?
Not the way they did the darking out the arena, the old school style lights.
It was a lot better
It's a
than that
different
Bray
thing.
Wyatt fight
Just-
that they
yeah,
had a couple years ago.
it gave it a little bit more of a different feel, you know what I'm saying? But again, that was a cinematic match too with Bray Wyatt. This was, legit actually wrestling match with no breaking of the ropes and things like that.
But remember that LA Knight Bray Wyatt fight, you could hardly even see them. Like it was hard to even
yeah, but
see
that
those
was
guys.
because they did the damn Mountain Dew light.
Exactly.
They did it for Mountain Dew paid
Made no sense. But
made no sense, but it made a lot of dollars for WWE.
oh, of course, because Mountain Dew paid a lot of money for that. But talking about returns, so we said that Miro came back. We saw Thunder Rosa come back.
Yes.
Who do you think will make a return to AEW, especially for that Collision new show that's happening? In your opinion, you have any idea?
Oh,
I
no,
have somebody in mind.
CM Punk's going to return.
Obviously. You know who I'm thinking might make a return? Andrade might make a return. And he's still under contract with AEW. The guy looks fit.
See it. I've seen different videos and different things from him.
Mm-hmm.
I believe he had shoulder surgery.
He was working out with Charlotte Flair. I saw him on Twitter, and he was working out with Charlotte Flair and everything.
Yeah.
I don't think he's injured.
On a let me see, maybe that was.
And then you know who's another one who I think eventually will come up, because his name is coming up as well. And I know that he's still injured, but I think they're eventually going to bring him, is Kyle O'Reilly. Kyle O'Reilly is another one who I think will eventually come up. And I wouldn't be surprised if they even bring Kyle O'Reilly just to kind of like have him with Adam Cole and that previous group, because of the simple fact that there was a lot of questioning whether Thunder Rosa has been cleared to wrestle. A lot of people were saying that she probably was not cleared to wrestle, but they wanted to go ahead and start bringing her in to kind of showcase her again. I don't know if she's going to have something more than just wrestling. Maybe she's going to be a color commentator or something like that throughout the show, but that's definitely something that she was possibly going to be used for besides wrestling, since she hasn't been cleared. So that, I mean, I don't know if she did get cleared or not, but if she hasn't, then maybe I like the fact that they at least.
But you can at least storyline it, even though you can say she hasn't been cleared, and she can go on Busted Open Radio and be like, "No, I'm not clear. No, I'm not clear." And all the while she is clear, and they're just, you'll never know for sure unless you have a bead to the doctor. Which, if you do, congratulations, that doctor will probably lose his license if he tells you for real. But it's one of those things to where, yeah, I mean, I could see a lot of it. Just the only thing is, and since we're into there now, I wanted to, you do your the Tony Khan announcement thing, and then I'll go over what information I have.
Well, what I have obviously is Tony Khan is gonna announce the story, the fact that there's a new show, especially since AEW Dark went off. So obviously he's gonna say that. I don't think he's gonna announce CM Punk. I think he should. I think he when he announces it, I think they should play the CM Punk song and CM Punk should come out just to see how the crowd reacts. If they boo him or they like him, either way, it's gonna be uh like a big story. Plus, from what I'm hearing, apparently the first fight that CM Punk is gonna have in the new show is gonna be against Samoa Joe. That's what I'm hearing. And then obviously the new deal that they have with Discovery, basically stating that there's a possibility that they might go into the streaming platform. So kind of like Peacock, where for example, the pay-per-views are no longer gonna be 39 or 49.99. You're gonna be able to watch them on the actual streaming network, which supposedly it's that Max streaming platform. So that's what I heard. I don't know if you heard anything different than that, or if you heard more than what I've heard.
All right, so Andrew Azarian, who is with, I believe he's with, I forgot who he's with, and Meltzer, Dave Meltzer. They're saying basically what you're saying. A new deal has been reached. It's going to be supposedly, numbers have kind of been fuzzy, but the new deal gives Warner Brothers Discovery exclusivity on AEW programming, which is why both Dark and Dark Elevation recently ended on YouTube. He says the deal does not include any Ring of Honor programming, which lives on Khan's Honor Club subscription service. And then also there was talk about the Elite, being the Elite. That will not also fall under this because that's owned by the Young Bucks. In January 2020, AEW and then Warner Brother announced a 4-year extension, which would run through 2024. The previous deal runs through the end of this year. The extension called for $175 million total with an option year at a significant increased price, according to Meltzer. Now, there's been numbers been throwing out there, and I don't see them getting this number. But if they get near this number, kudos to Tony Khan and everything else. There's been numbers thrown out there that says it's going to be probably 5 years, $1 billion.
Not bad.
If that is the case, that puts them right up there with WWE, which is why I think it's going to be a little bit lower. Maybe I'm wrong. But anyways, if you get anywhere close to that for the programming, the only thing is it's an exclusivity. And now my question to that goes to this. That opening match, Ring of Honor. Do those matches happen anymore on AEW?
I think they happen still in Dynamite. I don't think they happen at the new show.
Exclusivity. They own AEW. They don't own Ring of Honor. So you're gonna throw out your deal.
But the thing is that AEW owns Ring of Honor, and AEW roster fluctuates between Ring of Honor and AEW.
The deal does not include any Ring of Honor programming.
I don't see them just going ahead and neglecting Ring of Honor like that on both shows. I think they would allow it in one and not on the other, or they'll try to minimize it. But I still think you're telling me you're not going to showcase Claudio, not even have him show up at AEW with the Blackpool Combat Club because he's the Ring of Honor champion. That's not going to happen, dude.
Yeah, but you don't have to say he's the AEW. He's Claudio Castagnoli in AEW.
But he's going to come out with the Ring of Honor championship.
Why?
Belt.
Why does he have to come out with the belt?
Because he's the champion.
But he's not the Ring of Honor is not AEW.
It doesn't matter. You have that belt.
You're getting paid over $200 million a year. You think Warner Bros. Discovery's gonna be like, dude, just send out whatever you want. Throw whatever title you want out there.
Are you telling me that Claudio is just gonna go and sit back and be like, yeah, I'm not gonna show up with the Ring of Honor belt, even though he owns it on AEW Dynamite or that Collision show? Are you telling me that?
For what? What? Why? You're part of the Blackpool Combat Club.
Because he
you don't need damn piece of gold. That's not even with this company.
But how many belts do they come out with from other shows? They come out with all these New Japan belts when they have them as well. Kenny Omega is carrying a belt from another show. We talking about? What makes you think that they're not gonna bring it? They're gonna bring it. Ring of Honor.
Okay. All right.
Claudio.
Again, this deal, when this deal takes place, if I'm paying you $200 million, I don't want to see other companies' belts on my programming.
Why would that affect them? Why? Why would that affect them? Ring of Honor is AEW, the same thing. It's the same thing. Same fight, same wrestling.
I'm not paying Ring of Honor. I'm paying AEW.
Okay, if you don't want to showcase Ring of Honor fights, wrestling fights, okay, I could understand that. But make him not bring his belt? How is that affecting it? He's still in AEW. He's still fighting. He's not putting the Ring of Honor belt on the line.
It's perception, man.
Perception. I understand that, but dude, it's he's holding the belt. I don't see them going right ahead and be like, yo, get rid of Ring of Honor. We don't want anything to do with it. Even though it's stated on the contract, I don't see that happening because Tony Khan has said it on previous shows saying, hey, we're gonna separate the rosters, and then he hasn't done it. He still brings them one and the other.
$200 million a year, reason why? I mean, I don't understand. Why you need to have them?
Do you think, if that's the case, then do you think Claudio's going to stay in Ring of Honor and just be like, yo, no, get me the hell out of here. I'm going to go to AEW because I have to go ahead and make a name for myself.
Do you listen to what I'm saying, though? I'm not saying you got to take Claudio off of AEW. But when he's on AEW, he doesn't have to have the freaking ROH title around his waist. He's part of the Blackpool Combat Club.
But that's his belt, man. That's his belt. That's like you've earned it. You're pretty much punishing him for something that he earned. Why? Why are you going to punish him for something that he earned?
I'm not taking the belt off of him in Ring of Honor.
No,
but you're
basically
in AEW.
You're basically telling him, yo, you can't wear that, man. And it's not because you're the champion, but yeah, you can't be the champion. You can't carry it around. And then if I was Claudio, for example, or Samoa Joe, let's say, for example, and I come out there and they're telling me, yo, I can't have the belt, then I'm gonna be like, why the hell are you showcasing me in AEW then if I don't even have my belt? Like I mean, I earned it. It's the same company.
You're Samoa Joe. You're still Claudio Castagnoli. It's not like you're fucking scrubs.
Yeah, but you're not gonna win nothing over there. You're not gonna win anything in AEW because now you can't even showcase your Ring of Honor belt.
Why can't you win anything? Why can't you win anything in AEW? I don't understand. What is that? Why? Why can't you win?
So let's say Claudio decides to win in AEW. They give Claudio a belt in AEW, and then he has the Ring of Honor belt. Why would he be
on Ring of Honor TV? He's the Ring of Honor heavyweight champion. On AEW, he's the tag team champions.
No, man, that's that. I could understand that, and then let him bring both of his titles. That's what he has. He's earned both of the titles, so he should be able to carry both of the titles. I know it sounds silly. I know it sounds like, yo, Frankie, you're tripping, but I'm being honest with you. If I've earned my title and I am on AEW Dynamite or that new show Collision, and I'm getting paid by AEW, and AEW owns Ring of Honor, why the hell can I not bring my belt over to there? I'm not showcasing it. I'm showcasing my character. Claudio Castagnoli is here. Me bringing a belt should not make any freaking sense.
So what is the argument?
Well, for him, it might mean something.
Title means shit in AEW.
Okay, so let me ask you this: let me ask
you this. Hold on. The Ring of Honor heavyweight champion lines you up for what in AEW? What does that title get you in AEW?
Nothing. But still, it's your belt, man. It's your belt. What do you guys think in the chat? Do you not agree with me? If you're a championship belt and it's the same freaking company, the only difference is different brands, I guess. Why can't you not go ahead and showcase your belt in Dynamite? Okay, they don't want to promote Ring of Honor, right? They don't like Ring of Honor. They're like, yo, exclusive AEW. Perfect. Exclusive AEW. I will go to AEW with my belt. I'm not defending it. I'm still part of the Blackpool Combat Club. I'm there showing my face. I'm still part of everything. There's nothing being harmed. There's nothing being hurting the AEW brand because I'm not defending it. I could understand you about that first match, like that Ray Phoenix against Claudio. Makes sense. Okay, we'll take that away because they don't want any ROH matches. But him bringing a belt? Are you kidding me? He can't bring a belt because it's exclusive to AEW, but AEW owns Ring of Honor. It's the same crap. Just because they say, yo, we don't
Yes,
want Ring of
but
Honor
your
stuff.
TV partner does not have the rights to Ring of Honor. If they wanted those rights, you don't think they would have paid for them? They're going to offer them almost $200 million. You think if they said, hey, you know what? Let's throw Ring of Honor in there too. We'll give you $225.
You think Tony Khan is gonna go and just say, "Hey, man, no, we're gonna block everything of Ring of Honor and not bring it to AEW"? I highly doubt that, man. I highly doubt that. So you can't even go ahead and even like, for example, if Claudio is fighting in AEW and he has an upcoming pay per view for Ring of Honor, they can't even promote Ring of Honor pay per view in an AEW show. They can't. They can't even show like a commercial saying, "Hey,
Run it through your TV partners. Run it through your TV partners. Hey, can we do this?
okay."
Okay.
They make that exception. I don't see why they wouldn't.
Or they make you pay for it.
I, I don't know. I mean, if they paid $1 billion for it, I don't think they're gonna ask for more. I think they'll be fine with just what they got already.
No, AEW is getting $1 billion for 5 years.
Exactly. So
So
that's
then what Warner Bros. Might be like, oh, do you want to advertise for this show? Okay, then we need 100,000 and we'll advertise for you.
oh, well,
NWO paid for the WCW paid themselves for the NWO advertising.
wow, wow. But either way, man, we have the potential of this new show. So with a
Yes.
new show coming on, me and Sean, obviously we know what's happening with AEW. We know that they're not gonna have a draft. They're not. They already know who they want in one show and who they have in the other show. I think AEW is missing out. I think AEW should steal that from WWE. I would do a draft, but I like those
I think
drafts.
they should just I just think you should just be like anybody can show up at any time and make it even more interesting. That's and I go the same thing with WWE. That's only I mean, you can have your mainstays on Raw. You know this guy's there every week, but to have a draft and say you're stuck here and you're stuck there takes away.
Well,
Takes away from me. And I get
you
they
do
did
free
the free
agents and
agents
stuff.
thing,
Yeah.
but who on the free agents thing besides Brock Lesnar is like, oh, okay, Baron Corbin,
Omar?
Omos. I mean, but none of them are like, oh, okay, that guy can show up on. No, none of them are game changers the way Brock Lesnar is. I would have left more free agents game changers. Like I would have free agent Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. They can show up wherever, whenever. You know what I'm saying? Like I would have put bigger names there instead of the names they kind of have right now. That's just, and then the same thing with like AEW. I hope they don't. And I get that there's quote unquote, the issues and everything. But man, dude, if you want to make money, man, dude, CM Punk showing up at a Dynamite and confronting Omega and the Bucks, God bless, the place would go crazy. But
True.
again, it is what it is, man.
But I think if they do a draft, it'll be pretty cool as well because
I
I
think it'll be cool for the fans and everything, but I think after a while, you're stuck with what happens with WWE and all the time. It's like, okay, we've seen that.
the only
Okay,
thing is that I don't know how long this collision show is gonna last because remember back in the day I was listening that it was only gonna be during the summer. Now with them closing AEW Dark, I think they're gonna run this show full
yeah.
time.
And then
It's
the other thing is like, man, like I don't know what channel they throw it on, man.
gonna be rough. That's gonna be rough.
It's like Rampage is just getting. It's like the stepchild, man. It's on at 10 at night, 4 in the afternoon, 6 at night. It's like
Yeah.
even if I wanted to watch it, I couldn't tell you what time it's on this week.
But then you gotta look at. I guess you gotta look at it this way. So Dynamo will be your Monday Night Raw. That collision show would be your SmackDown, and then typically your Rampage would have to be that NXT type of show. That's the
Yeah.
only way you can look at, especially if you
Well,
want to
that's what they were
separate
kind of
yourself from
saying
Ring
was
of Honor.
Rampage is going to end up being the show that's kind of where like the dark and dark elevation talent would be on because it's going to be probably recorded anyways. So you'll get a chance to, you know, people you want to look at and everything there. So,
I,
DJ Mimo, what's up, buddy?
what's up, Memo? I honestly feel that they should do a draft. I don't know, Sean. It's up to you. Would you
I
be
already
willing
told
to?
you we'll do it. We'll do it. I think you handcuff yourself as a business when you do the draft. That again, and I say that with WWE as well. I mean, we'll sit here and we'll do a draft. We'll have fun and do
All
it.
right, so we'll do this. If Tony Khan announces it that there's going to be a new show, which supposedly it is on Saturday. I'm sorry, on a new show for Saturday. Apparently, it's what I'm hearing. It's for Saturdays.
I
But
heard the same thing, yes.
if he announces it tomorrow that there's going to be a split show, what we could do is next week we'll do an AEW draft. So it'll be Dynamite and Collision, and then we get to choose who we think. Now, obviously, it'll be fun and games because we don't know. We know who they're pretty much are gonna go where and whatnot. But it would be interesting, and then not only that, but it will help our fans kind of know where we're going at because a lot of fans, the AEW fans are not so into it. Maybe they'll start understanding some of our picks. We have some surprise picks here and there of who we could bring and who's available and who's not available. I think that would be pretty cool. And I
No,
think
definitely. We'll have that. Boss B says, when are both of you going to another CCW show? I got about 3 weeks left here in Texas. Well, Boss B, when you come back, we'll hit up a CCW show. I got about 2 more weeks of healing up, and then I should be ready to go.
I'm a little bit tied up these next couple weeks.
No, you're not allowed. You're not allowed. No.
I was a little bit tied up. I've been getting a lot of DJ gigs left and
Good
right.
job, man. Awesome.
So thank you. So but all I gotta do is just kind of like plan accordingly and make sure that whenever there's a CCW event, just not book.
Well, even if Fresco
booking
can't go that one day, I'll make sure we'll meet up Boss B, and then we'll get Frankie involved when he's got time for us. You gotta figure out that busy schedule of his, and he can schedule us in, pencil us in a little bit.
You want to know something, Sean? I didn't tell you this, but I will tell you was that last week on Friday and then yesterday I wasn't feeling well. I was a little bit concerned. I don't know if it was like I was getting a little like I was getting dizziness and stuff like that. I don't know if this is that I'm stressed out because I have a lot of events coming up this week, and then I also have my other job that I'm doing. So it's like it could be a lot of stuff. It could be also what I'm eating. So I was a little bit nervous, and I was like, man, but I didn't want to scare you. I didn't want to tell you. Like,
no, you let me know that stuff so we can work this out, man.
I was like, that's why
work you to death here, man.
I don't know if you see my eyes. They're like,
I thought it was stinger paint. I thought you were trying to get like Sting, so putting the black eyes.
I haven't been able to sleep that well.
You're slowly developing into like the Sting character here, right in front of you.
So it was a little bit rough this past yesterday and Friday. But I am feeling a lot better today. And the good thing is that if I wasn't feeling better, I promise you I probably would have said something to you and said, yo man, I don't think I could hang tonight. But yeah, I'm feeling a lot better, thank God. So
good deal, man. Good deal. Karen Joseph says, I'm back. AEW.
Yes,
AEW.
Karen, I've been waiting for you. You're not showing the AEW love. You're not showing me that love.
Looking like a true
Karen is my number one fan in my opinion. I love Karen. She's always there.
Because you both like AEW.
Of course. Every time, Karen. If Karen, we were just talking about it. I don't know if you were here to listen, but we're gonna try to do an AEW draft. So we want you to be definitely for that show. We're gonna try to pencil it hopefully next week once they announce this new show tomorrow.
I want to ask one question before we leave. And if you're listening to this on the podcast, reach out to me at Sean_Stanley11. That's on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, I don't know, whatever else. And then at Fresco Music there. If you could pick one wrestler today that's active, of course, who would that wrestler be if you were starting your own federation, your own company? One wrestler you can choose. Who's the guy you're choosing?
Are you asking me that as well?
I'll ask you as well, yeah.
Okay, so here's my question though. If the wrestler that I'm picking, are they all on the same level? Like, are they all, or do they have, or just go by the way they are right now? Like,
Frankie Fresco is starting the Fresco Wrestling Alliance, the FWA.
Yes, but nobody knows
Wrestling Alliance. You can hire the first. Who is the first guy you're hiring?
From okay. Let me
out of everybody, anybody.
But they could, based on their popularity. Like, if I was to bring in.
Frankie Fresco wants to sign this guy to the deal to be his face of his franchise. the Fresco Wrestling Alliance, the FWA.
I'm gonna. This is gonna be different. I'm gonna go with somebody who's been in the business for a long time, somebody who has good name recognition, and somebody that can help produce more wrestling talent in my organization. I would go with Chris Jericho.
Hmm, interesting. Interesting. And Karen, I agree with you. I'd pick MJF all day, every day.
See, the only reason I wouldn't pick MJF is because I don't think he would be able to develop my future wrestlers. And I need somebody who's going to be a team player who wants to make my company bigger.
I think that's all stick with MJF. It's all stick. It's him. It's a character.
I don't know, man.
I almost,
I don't know.
because here's the thing. If it's not, he's not going back to create a pro.
I like the fact that he did do
He's
that.
not doing that, man.
But
I mean,
look,
I get his
but
gimmick,
look how long it
his
took him
thing,
to
and-
get there. Look how long it took him to come back.
well,
How long has he been? How long has he been in AEW now?
yeah, but at the same time, now he's at that point to where when you look at him, you're like, okay, all right. He's got the name recognition now. Let's just talk. I'm telling you, man, he is one of those guys that, like, I would hire him first, and then I'd probably keep him heel. So then I would go for a baby face second, and those two guys would be the face of my company. And I mean, I wouldn't mind being like, I don't know, Boss B. I like Seth Rollins. I like that name, but I'm trying to think, because you also got to look, man, MJF's got tons of wrestling in front of him. To be honest with you, I don't think he's going to be in wrestling by the time he reaches 30.
I just saw my brother put Brock.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would pick Brock. I mean,
I can't have my face of my company only wrestling 4 matches a year.
I mean, he's an animal. He's a showcase.
He's definitely got the name recognition and all
But
that.
again, if I'm starting my own wrestling organization, I have to bring somebody who I feel is going to be a team player, who's willing to put in the work and the effort. And I mean, I think I mean, if anything, I would even bring Kenny Omega because I know I'm gonna get with Kenny Omega. He doesn't have the same strong power as like a Seth Rollins right now because obviously he hasn't been in WWE. But I know what I'm gonna get with Kenny. I know I'm gonna get his hard work. I'm gonna get him pushing for new talent and guy caring, and I could work with the guy.
I think maybe Randy Orton and MJF. Randy Orton just as the guy, but both of them could go heel, and then you can have a baby face too. You can have them both alternate. Because I believe MJF, with as nasty as he is as a heel, if you can find the other guy to be that heel character, I think you could flip him and also make him that much of a baby face. Not that you'd have to flip him necessarily because people cheer for him now. When he's in Long Island, he's over like $1 million, you know what I'm saying? And then, there's good guys, AJ Styles, Gunther. I mean, look, I love Orange Cassidy. I don't know that I would like put my company on Orange Cassidy. I think he's a good role player. He's in there to be, but like I don't think
Dominic
I think MJF can bring you money.
Dominic Mysterio and Mommy. I wouldn't mind bringing them both. Yeah.
Dom would be your heavyweight champion.
Dom,
right? You push him for victories, right? You got to win it all.
Did you don't talk about it again, bro? Because you saw what happened yesterday.
No, I haven't watched it. So.
Oh, he won again.
How'd he win?
Well, technically, Rita Ripley hit what's his name? The guy from New Day. Damn it, I always forget his name. Xavier Woods. There you go. So he hits Xavier Woods on the back, but it's like a little love tap. She gives him like a little love tap.
Nothing from Rhea Ripley's a love tap.
She gave him like a little love tap, man.
Tap you lovely.
She gives him a little love tap. He goes back inside the ring, and then Dominic gets the pin on him, and Dominic wins. So I'm telling you, I don't care.
Easily, right? He's winning easily. That's what I said.
But he's winning, bro. Before he was losing every single time. And no, I would not start the company with LWO. That will automatically fall in like the first week.
I'm
Like,
starting to think the L is not for Latino anymore.
yeah, I don't, man, it's so sad
The
that.
loser world order there.
But yeah, man, that's pretty much who I would probably choose. Chris Jericho. I think he's good, man. People know him. People love him.
I
He's a
don't.
good player.
I can't fault any. I mean, honestly, all of them. The only thing, like, and honestly, look, man, it's your company. If you want to start with Orange Cassidy, that's somebody you can start with. But I just, like, I've found a fondness for Orange Cassidy, and I found a fondness for Darby Allin, Allin, and all them like that. But I don't see them as guys that I'm going to put. They're not one of my pillars. I'll put it that way.
I they've done a really good job with Orange Cassidy, and I like the fact that they've maintained the belt on him. I think they're actually done a better job with Orange Cassidy than what they've done with Wardlow, in my opinion.
Oh no, yeah, they killed Wardlow. Wardlow with this whole Samoa Joe thing. And again, I don't know what the situation was. I think he had to go and film something or do something, so they just like took the belt off of him for whatever reason. It just that made no sense, but it totally to me killed everything that you were building up for Wardlow.
And and Jeff Jarrett is a very good heel. I like him. He's old, but he's a very good heel. I like what they've done with Jeff Jarrett at AEW.
You can never go wrong with Mr. Kennedy
Or JBL.
Kennedy.
JBL was good too. Rey Mysterio, that's another good one to happen.
Yeah,
there's options out there.
I mean, the way I'm looking at it though is like right now, today, if I had to hire somebody, Ray, I love him to death, but he's more closer toward the end than the beginning. And Sasha would probably be one of my first women I'd hire. If I
no, for me it would be Rhea Ripley. Mommy would be number one. That woman is on top, man. Everything she does is amazing right now. Anything she touches, you're getting a fan reaction.
Juan Cena. I would sign Juan Cena.
Juan Cena.
The greatest luchadors ever. You
Yes,
don't know
sir.
who Juan Cena is? You know who Juan Cena is, Frankie?
Juan Cena.
He wore a mask one time and he teamed up as a luchador and he was Juan Cena.
It's kind of like FTR when FTR was La Ranas.
Yeah, and then they did Conquistadors, Edge and Christian.
Yeah.
Let's see who else we got. The Midnight Rider was Dusty Rhodes.
Yeah.
Let's see who else we got throwing that. Mr. America was Hulk Hogan. Gotta love it. All right, man. Any parting thoughts? We've been going for a while. I didn't even realize time it was.
I just want to go. Obviously, we have to do the performance of the week.
Oh yes, yes.
But I do before we do that, I do want to give hopefully prayers out there to Billy Graham. Billy Graham's health is doing really bad right now.
Taking another turn.
Yeah, man, he's on life support. He's been on life support, and the doctors wanted to take him off life support, but his wife was able to hold him off and told him, "Nah, man, I still want him on there." So okay. I don't know if he's.
Oh, we're okay.
So it's pretty bad. She was sending out tweets over the weekend saying, to pray for him. That way he could survive. I mean, he is old. He's 79 years old.
No, yeah. Thoughts and prayers with him and his family.
But still, it's very sad. But my performance of the week this week, oh man, I had him. Hold on a second. I have it. I did my research here. Lio Rush. That is my performance of the week.
Oh, wow, you went deep.
So Lio Rush was in New Japan Pro Wrestling this past weekend, and he was the main event, and he was facing Hiromu Takashi. Takashaki. Man, my pronunciation is
It's okay, man. I couldn't even think.
Takahashi. Takahashi is his name.
Okay.
Takahashi. So he was really good. It was a really good fight. He is now, I believe, he's either 3-0 or 4-0 in New Japan.
Okay.
And it was hard to see the fight because it's all the way in New Japan. It's all the way in Japan, so it's on the other side of the hemisphere for us. But they had a great fight. I saw some highlights of it, and I saw how he went through a table, he went through a chair and everything. And it was kind of like a revenge fight for him because I think he had either he had lost or won. I'm not sure. They have faced each other before. So this was kind of like the grudge match. So and then
Rush is right.
Of course.
Yeah, all right. Just making sure.
Now, I was a little bit disappointing how obviously Lio Rush WWE back in the day, and obviously
Bobby Lashley's mouthpiece.
And then AEW did not do a really good job utilizing him either. I mean, I know they combined him a couple of times with, I think it was with Dante at that time,
Mhm.
but they really didn't utilize him. So I'm happy for him because it's a rebound for him. Like,
Yeah.
making those moves from going from WWE to AEW, and now he's going to New Japan, and it seems like he's getting his niche over there. And remember, New Japan, AEW, they kind of work Forbidden Door as another one. So who never know. He might come and make a guest appearance. I'm not sure because he's not too happy with AEW. I had seen an interview and he wasn't too thrilled of how AEW did him when he was let go by them. But still, it was good to see him wrestle again, and I see that he's doing really well over there. So my performance of the week goes to Leo Rush.
All right. And now you can see me. I'm the new Mr. AEW because I'm going with John Moxley and Kenny Omega steel cage match. I'm going with an AEW performance.
Sir, how
I
dare
thought
you?
they hit it out of the park. Again, the only problem I had was the timing of the Don Callis turn. But again, that is neither here nor there. The violence that was orchestrated, the fact that before they even got into the cage, they got everybody involved, kind of everybody got their moves in. The Bucks were jumping off the stage before they even got to the cage. Then they finally get in the cage. Then the ring's torn apart. There's hooks, there's glass, there's everything else. And then the screwdriver finish, the screw at the finish. So
It was a
there
great
are
match.
my performers of the week. And you know what, DJ Mimo? I'd sign Cha Cha Charlie too, buddy.
Well, Karen, I didn't want to go and say the Kenny Omega and Moxley fight because I kind of had the feeling that maybe Sean was going to go that route. So I wanted to be a little bit different. But I mean,
AEW.
and that is true, Nick. He has gone to the dark side. Look, we even have the colors of AEW now. You see that? I'm turning him. He's starting to.
Slowly.
He is a big wrestling fan, but he's slowly making his way over to AEW and be like, oh, I'm starting to like a little bit AEW. He actually watched Dynamite. He actually watched Dynamite.
I'm Claudio.
Sir, you got to bring that. You can't bring that belt. You can't bring it. Don't. How dare you? Don't even dare bring those belts, sir. You only bring the AEW belt.
MJF.
Don't bring those belts. We can't bring both of the belts. The
Yeah.
clause doesn't allow us.
I'm gonna have to sit here and.
The contract clause does not allow us to bring those belts.
All right, there. Woo. All right, MJF, bring it, buddy.
Oh, you saw? I forgot to show you, but over there,
Yeah.
you see that? That was for MJF.
Oh, I see a little. Is that AEW thing back there?
Yeah, hold on a second. Hold on.
All right.
Let me see if I can get it.
I have to show both belts. Start feeling like. There we go.
So it's
beautiful though. Oh, the scarf. I like it.
Yeah, so they had actually. I bought this when they were down here, so it was pretty cool. And it actually says,
Dude, I love it. I love it.
If you can't afford an actual scarf, this is like it says it. Hold on, let me see if I can read it. Read it exactly.
Champ.
It
Double
says.
What was it, a real one?
It says. Here it goes. So it says, too poor for a
real one. Mid. I love it.
It's awesome, right?
Oh, that is awesome, man.
That is so funny that they went ahead and put that on. They put that on there. So yeah.
There we go.
Well,
all right. Any parting thoughts, man? Any parting thoughts?
I'm just happy that you're wearing that AEW and Ring of Honor belt. Look at you making that comeback. Guys, we will be going ahead and hopefully we'll do the draft next week. Our like mock draft. We'll do a little mock draft.
We'll have some fun with it. We'll have fun with it. We'll hear the announcement tomorrow night from Tony Khan, and then if they do announce the new show next Tuesday night, Karen, make sure you're here on time. You can help us out with the draft.
Karen, you don't want to know who I'm gonna pick. If I do, I'm gonna. Well, you know what? I'll let Sean. Since Sean last time let me do. He let me pick between SmackDown.
Oh no! Mr. AEW's picking first.
No.
Yeah, no.
You will go first.
AEW.
You have the belt.
AEW is not.
You have the belts plus You get to choose which show you would be, if you want to be Dynamite or if you want to be Collision. And then, hey, we don't know who we're gonna pick. You know, who would Sean? Sean looks like, look at him. He's already thinking. He's like, yo, who can I get? Who should I get? The matches that could develop, and we gotta bring some rules too. We gotta find out, can we use Ring of Honor wrestlers into AEW? Can we do that? Can we do that, Sean? Who is that? Is that Macho Man Randy
Yep.
Savage? Oh, nice. You know when I did the Kenny Omega the giveaway,
Mhm.
I really like the Kenny Omega action figure that I actually bought one for myself as well, so I have one. Also, shout out to those Miami Heat and those Florida Panthers, baby. Is that that looks like, is that Bill Goldberg?
No, man. Look at the tattoo.
Oh, Batista.
It's The Rock, man.
That's The
Jeez.
Rock. Oh man, damn,
Tribal tattoo, man.
my eyesight is terrible.
And by the way, if you're gonna let me go first, I can tell you right now, CM Punk is the first pick.
Oh,
I'll spoil you. Right now, spoiler for you.
how many rounds? We got to do the same. We got to do like 5 rounds.
We'll do like 3 picks, 4 rounds, 12 picks each.
AEW all the way. Yes, let's go Heat. Let's go Panthers. Guys, don't forget to hit the like button. Thank you everybody who tuned in to today's show. And then also check out the squaredcircledigest.com.
Yes, sir. In the words of the great Gordon Soley, so long from the sun. Shine. State you mid.